Chapter 209. Ancient times were not like modern times, where there were all kinds of man-made compound fertilizers. In this era, the fertilizers were all kinds of feces. Although it sounded a little disgusting, the vegetables grown with this kind of natural fertilizer were definitely more delicious than those grown with compound fertilizers. Mu Yimfing was supported by Zhao Yun, to the latrine pit. He was stunned and looked at it with uncertainty. Miss Yin, is this the place? Mu Yimfing asked. He probably felt that this latrine pit was too shabby, right? Zhao Yin guessed in her heart. Mu Yimfing's identity was not ordinary. He lived in the Shitzi residence. The latrine in the residence was definitely much better arrived than the latrine pit in her house. It was a middle-aged woman with a face full of transmigrated and a very fat body. She was really not used to this kind of woman pit. Such an ugly woman. Now that she had used it for a period of time, had only seen this kind of woman on TV before. It's here. And it was made ugly by others. Responded, based on the original owner's memories reaction. If she remembered correctly, this trace of shock and helplessness flashed in his eyes. Zhao Yun raised her eyebrows also had no choice, and her cold voice pit at home was like this. I thought it was a mad dog barking in front of my house. It was a pity that there were no flush toilets in this era. Otherwise, it would be much more mocking her as a mad dog. She was furious. Mu Yimfing asked, "Who are you calling a mad dog?" If he squatted down, his injured leg would definitely have to exert force. I said, however, I thought his leg was so badly injured. I didn't say you were a mad dog. Force, the wound would definitely split open, for granted. Right? Even if he could barely support himself with one leg, angry, he still felt that it was a little difficult when Zhao Yin said this. Jinhua became even more depraved. Can you just make do with it? Why am I looking for you? The latrines in the village are all like this. I can't help you find a better one. How to seduce people. If I can find one, Zhao Yun, I will definitely bring you unhappy to be scolded like this. The more Zhao Yun spoke, the softer her voice became. Jinhua was here. Not long after she said it, because they had heard those groundless rumors and wanted to take it back. And thought that she had an improper relationship with Lu San. After Mu Lianfeng recovered from his shock, the women in the family couldn't stand their man fooling around with another woman. Looking at Zhao Yun's blushing face, Zhao Yun couldn't understand why Lu San was still fooling around outside when he had a wife. I'll make do with it. Now that she saw Jinhua, I'm just afraid that my leg can't take that it wasn't without reason. If it can't take it, this Jinhua's appearance was really hard to explain. Zhao Yun helped Mu Lianfeng. If it was a man, the latrine pit wouldn't be able to do it, right? So she could only stand outside. This kind of woman shouldn't be able to get married. Go in alone. However, besides, Lu San was usually idle, was a grown man squatting down to defecate. He didn't mention whether he was used to it or not. He couldn't marry other women. She would definitely be too embarrassed to look if there was someone beside him who was in the way. Who do you think I'm seducing? Who are you seducing? I'll wait for you outside. Do you know everything in your heart? Zhao Yun said. You don't have a man. Her face is red as a monkey's butt. You only know how to seduce other men. Mu Lianfeng didn't say much. Are you that lacking in men? Just nodded. Fellow villagers, please judge for me. Judge for me. Mu Lianfeng called out to Zhao Yun to begin with. Miss Yin, there were some rumors about Zhao Yun and Zhao Yun asked without turning around. Many of them were women who loved to join in the fun. To trouble you. Is there any justice in this world? Zhao Yun knew that Jinhua was doing it on young master Mu. Seduce my man. You need. Why is my leg so bitter? When did I Jinhua saw that someone had seen you a few times? She cried even louder. You said that as if she was sad that her parents had died. Evidence. Zhao Yun's time before she could react. This woman really knew how to create momentum. For a moment, which she didn't know what to say, the whole village came over to accept such a big accusation. Off his in front of the entire village. Chapter that she was naturally very embarrassed. You little bit TCH. Whether it was in ancient times or modern times, asked the people in the village. Say it out loud. Who doesn't know? However, his left hand really couldn't everyone tell us and be the judge. When Jinhua said this, the women who were originally her first time doing this, and Lu San's matter inevitably a little nervous. As the saying goes, 3 people make a tiger, and the distance between the two of them was very close. When Zhao Yun's hand reached out to Mu Lianfeng's belt, Zhao Yun's current situation began to tremble. Among these women who were discussing were somewhat similar to the belts of modern to injury. However, hoping that Zhao Yun still didn't know how to untie this thing, it wasn't just easy for them to find an opportunity. It was much more complicated to wear than modern clothes. What evidence do you need? When she first transmigrated, everyone knows about it. Zhao Yun even studied how to wear clothes. No one knew about the stupid thing she did. Zhao Yun tried for 2 to 3 minutes. After all, it's a disgraceful thing. She became even more anxious so easily. Wasn't this a little too awkward? Pitiful. If my man was like this, that Zhao Yun, I would definitely know how to untie his belt. He lowered his head and saw Zhao Yun's beautiful eyes staring at his belt. She's here to seduce people. Her body was trembling slightly. These women said one sentence after another. No matter how good Zhao Yun's mentality was, there's no rush. She couldn't help but get angry when she heard it. It was fine if Mu Lianfeng didn't want to be wronged for something she didn't do. Zhao Yun felt even more gathered around to join in the fun. Young
in
Master
the crowd,
Mu,
a
I've
red
never
figure
seen
hit
your
at the
belt
back.
before. When she
I don't
heard
know how
these
to
women's
untie
words,
it.
the corners of her
Zhao
mouth
Yun'er's
couldn't
answer
help but
stunned
curl
Mu
up.
Yanfeng.
There was a hint of
I'll
smugness
study
in
it
her
again.
eyes. Young
She hid
Master
at the
Mu
back
wait
to
for
watch
me.
the show.
Zhao
But no one
Yun'er said
noticed
with a
her.
red face.
She also
The
hid the
two of them
expression
looked
on
at
her
each
face
other
very well
and felt that something
Seeing
was
so
wrong.
many people helping
After
her,
Mu Lianfeng
Jinhua
was
said
stunned
to
for a
Zhao
few
Yun'er
seconds.
proudly.
The corners of his mouth curled up into
So
an
many people have
inexplicable
said it,
smile, and everyone
However,
knows about it.
Zhao Yun'er lowered
still
her
need
head and
evidence.
didn't see it.
Everyone
Okay,
tell
Miss
us,
Yun'er,
do you still need
the
evidence?
smell in the latrine was
Of
a little
course not.
strong.
Zhao
Jinhua,
Yun'er naturally
why are you
didn't want
talking
Mu
nonsense
Lianfeng
with
to
her?
smell it for so long.
Someone jeered.
He looked at
Zhao
Mu
Yanfeng again
only
and again,
felt that these people
and
were
finally
funny,
helped Mu Lianfeng
especially
untie his
Jinhua's
belt.
smug look.
Seeing that Mu Lianfeng's
Interesting.
pants
The
almost fell
so-called
down,
evidence is just
Zhao
hearsay.
Yun'er hurriedly helped
This is
Mu
what everyone
Lianfeng
says,
pull up
so
his
it's
pants.
true?
Then
Otherwise,
what's the point
she
of
would
having
really see Mu
evidence?
Lianfeng's butt.
Spend some money
It didn't
to bribe
matter
people.
if she looked at the man's
It doesn't
upper body,
matter even if you
but
kill
if she
people.
looked at his lower
As
body
long as
again,
everyone says
it would
that
be
they
very
didn't kill.
awkward.
Isn't
Young,
it fine?
Young Master
Zhao
Mu,
Yun'er replied
your pants
faintly.
are about to fall
A
off.
pair of cold eyes
You have to
swept
lift them
across
up yourself.
Jinhua's body.
All right.
UB asterisk
Mu
TCH
Lianfeng reached out
You're
and
still
pulled up his
twisting
pants.
words and forcing
Zhao
logic.
Yun'er quickly turned
Is there
around
anything wrong
and walked
with what
out of the
everyone
latrine.
said?
So you're saying that
You're such a
everyone
piece
is
of
lying and
SH
accusing you?
T.
That's
I'll
not
wait for
it.
you outside.
But since
Call
everyone
me
is
if
here,
anything happens.
I would like to ask.
Zhao Yun'er said.
Zhao Yun'er faced
All right.
the woman who was
Zhao
condemning
Yun'er
her
waited
and
for a
raised her
while.
voice.
When Mu
Since you
Lianfeng
all
called
seem
her
to be
again,
telling the truth,
Zhao Yun'er thought
then
that
let
Mu
me ask
Lianfeng
you,
was done.
who has seen
But
me
she
with
didn't
Lu
expect
San with
Mu
their own
Lianfeng
eyes?
to say,
Did you see
see
it with your
Yun'er,
own eyes?
do you have toilet
or did you
paper?
hear it from someone
Toilet
else?
paper? Zhao
No.
Yun'er's rhetorical
Zhao Yun'er
question
said
left all
she
the women
forgot to
present
bring it when
speechless.
she went out just now.
They had
People
all
in this
heard
era,
about it,
especially
How could they
the
have
people
seen
in
it
the
with their own
countryside.
eyes? Rarely
I heard
use
it from
toilet
sister-in-law
paper.
Momet.
They used a wooden stick to
Sister-in-law
remove
Momet.
it,
Have you
or
seen
wipe
it?
it off with tree leaves.
No, I heard it from Sister
The reason
Ranji.
why they didn't
I
use
heard it from
toilet
Big
paper wasn't that
Sister.
they didn't want
I haven't
to use
seen it either,
but that the paper
these
in this
people
era
discussed
was
for a
more
while.
expensive.
But in the end,
rich families
they
could
realized
afford
it.
it. They had all heard
But the
about
people
it.
in the countryside
No one had
weren't
really
willing
seen
to
it with
spend
their
money
own
on
eyes.
it. In the
Zhao
end, it
Yun'er
was
wasn't
pushed to
used to the way
Xiaohong.
people wiped their butts here. Even if
Chapter
toilet paper was a
213.
little expensive,
Being asked about
she still
Xiaohong.
gritted her teeth
Xiaohong
and
was
bought
also
it.
stunned.
Then what
She
should
did
we
not
do?
expect to be
It's
dragged
in the
out,
house. Even though she had
Young
been
Master
hiding
Mu,
at the back.
I'll go get it
Everyone's
for you.
gazes
Zhao
landed on
Yun'er
her.
said with a red
Xiaohong
face.
pursed her
All
lips
right,
and
Miss
said,
Yun'er, I'll wait
"I-
for you.
I didn't see
All
it
right,
with
I'll
my
be
own
back
eyes."
soon.
I heard
Zhao
it
Yun'er
from
hurriedly
others.
ran back.
Xiaohong's
Just as she
face was a
entered the
little
house,
stiff. She heard
because
the
she had
shouting
lied.
outside. She kept blinking
Zhao
her
Yun'er,
eyes.
you bitch, come
Who
out.
did you hear it from? The woman could not help but ask. After all, they had to find the source of this matter. Once they found the source, they would know who had seen it with their own eyes. Being interrogated like this, Xiaohong panicked and felt very guilty. How could I remember? It's been so many days. I forgot who told me. Xiaohong's voice was very soft. You can even forget this. Little sister Xiaohong, your memory is not bad. That's right. You're so young, and you can't even remember such a small thing. Now I wonder who saw it with their own eyes. Who can stand up and say something? These people's words fell into Zhao Yun'er's ears, including Xiaohong's reaction. This Xiaohong had a problem at first glance. It was impossible for rumors to appear out of nowhere. Thinking of the matter of Xiaohong framing her before, Zhao Yun'er guessed that this time the rumors were spread by Xiaohong again. Why was this woman so scheming? She had saved her back then, and prevented her from being violated by Lu San. Now, she was actually framing her and Lu San for having an affair. Damn it. Her conscience had been eaten by a dog. These women blabbered on and on. Zhao Yun'er's cold and sarcastic voice joined in. In that case, everyone only heard about it from hearsay. No one saw it with their own eyes? The women's confidence was clearly not as strong as before. They looked at each other. Without evidence, there was no point in saying anything. They were not fools. Of course, they understood that if no one had seen such a thing, the authenticity of the rumors was still up for debate. Who spread this? Seriously, how could they spread rumors without seeing it with their own eyes? That's right. Now that it's over, what can we say? Xiaohong, why don't you remember who spread it? If you remember, let's quickly ask. Xiaohong, think about it. Think carefully. The spearhead was pointed at Xiaohong again. Xiaohong was being interrogated. She was the one who spread the rumors. Who else could she point the finger at? What happened to you? I can't remember either. Zhao Yun'er's lips curled into a sneer. It would be strange if this Xiaohong remembered. Of course, she would not admit that she had said it. All right, since everyone has heard that it's just a rumor, let's not talk about it anymore. Of course, how did this rumor spread? I think someone did something shameful and wanted to frame me. Even if you want to ruin my reputation, you shouldn't use such a despicable method. If I know who it is, I don't mind revealing what I know. Zhao Yun'er said this deliberately for Xiao Hong to hear. As expected, Xiao Hong's face instantly turned red. She glanced at Zhao Yun'er in a panic. Her guilty conscience was exposed. Chapter 214. Jin Hua had already determined this rumor in her heart. As the saying goes, there is no smoke without fire. She also knew what kind of person her man was. Zhao Yun'er was so pretty, so it was possible that Lu San had thoughts of being together with Zhao Yun'er. In addition, her man had naturally praised Zhao Yun'er in front of her, so Jin Hua remembered it even more. Zhao Yun'er was young and had no man. It was inevitable that she would have certain needs and seduce her man. Jin Hua's aura was aggressive, and Zhao Yun'er was not so easy to provoke. With such a big pot of sh*t being thrown at her, if she did not retaliate, she would be talked about in the village in the future. What? Sister Jin Hua, are you desperate enough to do anything? Who are you calling a dog? Look, you're taking it personally again. I'm talking about a cornered dog jumping over the wall. It's an adjective. I'm not saying that you're a dog. How old is Sister Jin Hua this year? Her ears are so bad. Zhao Yun'er mocked. This made Jin Hua's face even redder. B*tch, see if I don't tear your mouth apart. As Jin Hua spoke, she waved her hand towards Zhao Yun'er. Crazy woman. Zhao Yun'er was too lazy to be polite with Jin Hua. The matter had already been made clear. It was fine as long as other people understood. At least they would not continue to talk about this matter. Jin Hua's wrist was twisted by Zhao Yun'er. When Jin Hua turned around, Zhao Yun'er kicked Jin Hua's butt again. Thus, Jin Hua's fat body flew out and fell heavily on the ground. When everyone saw this, they could not help but exclaim in shock. Wasn't this Zhao Yun'er a little too powerful? Jin Hua was such a fat person, but it was as if it was effortless to kick her. It hurts, Jin Hua shouted. Not only was her body in pain, but her chin also hit the ground. It was very painful. There was also a bloody taste in his mouth. You slut, how dare you hit me? You seduced someone else's man, and still dared to hit me. Is there any justice in this world? I need to find Li Zheng to be the judge. Jin Hua struggled to get up from the ground. Since she couldn't beat Zhao Yun'er, she couldn't give up like this. She had to ruin Zhao Yun'er's reputation, and let the whole village know about her wretched activities. Zhao Yun'er lowered her head and looked at the golden flowers. Is it really okay to bite people like this? Firstly, if I hit you, you're the one who rushed over to hit me. I can't just stick my head out and let you hit me, right? Secondly, you made up stories that didn't exist and caused trouble at my door. I haven't settled the score with you yet. Find Li Zheng to be the judge? Okay, I also want Li Zheng to be the judge. You don't even have any evidence, yet you came to my door and beat me up. That's not right, right? Jin Hua blinked and was about to retort. Zhao Yun'er continued. Big sister Jin Hua. Also, you have to be more realistic when you bite people. I, Zhao Yun'er, don't have a man, but I think I'm pretty good looking. If I really lacked a man, I wouldn't find someone like your family's Lu San. Who doesn't know that Lu San has no ability, idles around, and doesn't look very good. This kind of man, other than you, big sister Jin Hua, who treasures him. I want to ask all the sisters and aunties here. You are also women. If you want to find a man, would you find someone like Lu San? When Zhao Yun'er asked this rhetorical question, everyone suddenly felt that what Zhao Yun'er said made sense. Chapter 215. Just as Zhao Yun'er said, other than Jin Hua, no one would be willing to stay with someone like Lu San. Zhao Yun'er was pretty, and everyone in the village knew that Lu Lei was interested in Zhao Yun'er. If Zhao Yun'er was looking for a man, she would look for Lu Lei. How could it be Lu San? Comparing the two of them, even a ghost would know who to choose. It seems that this matter isn't like what the rumors say. Yeah, why did we believe it in the past? Now that we think about it, isn't it too ridiculous? Zhao Yun'er isn't blind. Then someone must have deliberately spread it to ruin Zhao Yun'er's reputation. Who would be so ruthless to spread this? The women gathered together. After thinking about it, they began to suspect Xiaohong. She was the only one who said that she didn't remember who spread it, but everyone heard it from her. So the possibility of her spreading it was very high. Seeing that these people were looking at her suspiciously, Xiaohong quickly waved her hand and pretended to be pitiful. It wasn't me, it really wasn't me. I just can't remember who spread it. That's hard to say. Why would I spread this? I have no grudge against Sister Yin'er. Why would I harm her? Maybe you're jealous. Xiaohong, everyone knows that you like Lu Lei, but Lu Lei doesn't like you. He likes Xiao Yin'er. Then it's really possible that Xiaohong is the culprit. She's the only one. Who else would spread it? Although there was no evidence to prove that Xiaohong was the one who spread it, these women roughly understood in their hearts. They didn't expect that Xiaohong, who looked so innocent and harmless, would do such a thing. These women didn't scold Xiaohong on the surface, but Xiaohong couldn't stand their gazes. She ran out of the crowd. The corners of her eyes were red, and a few drops of tears hung down. Zhao Yin'er naturally saw Xiaohong's back as she ran out. Zhao Yin'er did not want to comment on this woman. She only wanted to say that she deserved it. When Jinhua saw that everyone was no longer protecting her, she began to believe in Zhao Yin'er. His initial excitement and confidence to rush over instantly disappeared. She couldn't beat him in a fight, and she couldn't reason with him either. Jinhua was caught between a rock and a hard place. Just as he was thinking about how to leave, a woman in her 40s or 50s came out to mediate. All right, Jinhua. Since this is a misunderstanding, let's forget about it. That's right, Jinhua. Someone is deliberately provoking you and using you as a tool. Look, you're suffering, aren't you? Let's go, let's go. Don't make a scene. It's not good for a village to make a scene. This gave Jinhua a platform, and Jinhua took the opportunity to step down. She said to Zhao Yin'er, "Today's matter is a misunderstanding. I'll leave first, but don't try to seduce my man in the future. Otherwise, I'll make you suffer." Zhao Yin'er only felt that it was hilarious. How could there be such a tyrannical and unreasonable person? Wait! Zhao Yin'er shouted. Jinhua paused in her steps and turned around to ask Zhao Yin'er, "What do you want now?" Chapter 216. Apologize? Why do I have to apologize? Jinhua started to make a fuss. Although she had wronged Zhao Yin'er, it didn't mean that she really thought she was wrong. Apologizing to Zhao Yin'er in front of so many people was really embarrassing. She came here so aggressively today. But the ending was like this. She reckoned that many people would laugh behind her back, right? Of course I have to apologize if I did something wrong. Zhao Yin'er, you. Don't push your luck. Who do you think you are? Jinhua glared at Zhao Yin'er. Obviously, she was very angry with Zhao Yin'er. Big sister Jinhua. If you don't even want to reason with me, I don't mind using force. Zhao Yin'er put her hands on her waist and looked arrogant. Her aura completely crushed Jinhua. You. Jinhua was scared by Zhao Yin'er. No one was helping her. She couldn't beat Zhao Yin'er. Other than apologizing, she could only get beaten up. Wouldn't it be even more embarrassing if she went back with a bruised face? Jinhua was unhappy, but she still lowered her head and admitted her mistake. Okay, I was wrong, okay? Can we go now? Jinhua said. Her apology wasn't sincere. Zhao Yin'er couldn't be bothered to care so much. She reminded Jinhua, "You better watch your man. Don't let him fool around and say that someone seduced him." Zhao Yin'er hinted that Lu San was flirting with other women. Jinhua bit her lower lip and left in a huff. If she could keep an eye on her own man, would she still need to pick on Zhao Yin'er? After Jinhua left, the people who had come to watch the show also dispersed. The noisy front yard suddenly quieted down. Zhao Yin'er breathed a sigh of relief. Actually, Jinhua's ruckus was a good thing for her. If she were to personally explain to them one by one, no one would believe her. They would even think that there was something shady going on between her and Lu San. Now that he had made it clear to them, they were clear as well. Among them, someone had framed Zhao Yin'er. It was not as the rumors said. Zhao Yin'er smirked and turned to enter the house. Quarreling was also a waste of energy. After the quarrel, Zhao Yin'er suddenly felt weak. He wanted to sit down and rest. As soon as her butt landed on the stool, Zhao Yin'er suddenly remembered that she had left Mu Lianfeng alone in the latrine for a long time. Not only did Jinhua come over and cause a ruckus, but she also forgot about this matter. Zhao Yuner hurriedly got up, jumped from the stool, and rushed to the latrine. When she went over, Mu Lianfeng had already straightened his body and was pulling up his pants. Zhao Yuner's mind went blank for a moment. When Mu Lianfeng saw Zhao Yuner arrive, he was also a little embarrassed. Young Master Mu, you didn't clean up your mess? Zhao Yuner felt a strong sense of guilt in her heart. She had delayed for so long. He was probably very uncomfortable waiting in the latrine, right? Seeing Mu Lianfeng's face turn red, Zhao Yuner hurriedly explained why she didn't come. She didn't want to be misunderstood by Mu Lianfeng. Young Master Mu. Mu Lianfeng's lips curled into a smile. Miss Yuner, it's fine. Mu Lianfeng could see Zhao Yuner's guilt. I saw that you prepared a wooden stick in the latrine, so I tried to use it. Since you can use it, I can use it too. Chapter 217. She blinked her eyes, unable to digest so much information. The toilet paper in her hand suddenly felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Mu Lianfeng was such a noble person. It was probably the first time he used such a wooden stick to wipe his butt. Not to mention that Mu Lianfeng was used to living like a prince for a long time. Even Zhao Yuner, who was very adaptable, was not used to wiping her but with a wooden stick. In the end, she made Mu Lianfeng wait for a long time. Mu Lianfeng had no choice but to use a wooden stick. Otherwise, not to mention the stench in the latrine, his injured foot would not be able to hold on for long. Now that Mu Lianfeng said this to her, he was probably comforting her, and did not want her to feel too guilty. Young Master Mu, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to forget, but someone came to my house to cause trouble just now. Zhao Yuner began to explain, stuttering a little. The faint smile on Mu Lianfeng's lips was like a spring breeze, giving people a very fresh and comfortable feeling. It's okay, Miss Yuner. I know, Mu Lianfeng said. His voice was soft with a hint of magnetic hoarseness. It was very pleasant to hear. The latrine was not far from Zhao Yuner's house. Those people's voices were so loud just now, so Mu Lianfeng could roughly hear them. Seeing that those people slowly stopped making noise, Mu Lianfeng's foot really could not hold on anymore. Only then did he find a wooden stick and wipe it. Young Master Mu, do you still want this toilet paper? Zhao Yuner handed the toilet paper over. No, I'll use it next time. Okay. Then Miss Yuner send me back. Oh, okay. Zhao Yuner hurried over and helped Mu Lianfeng. The two of them hugged each other. Perhaps Mu Lianfeng had stayed in the latrine pit for too long. His body also carried the faint smell of the latrine pit. Mu Lianfeng was injured and could not bathe. This smell probably wouldn't go away in a short time. The guilt in Zhao Yuner's heart deepened. Sigh, it's all her fault. If Jinhua hadn't come over, Mu Lianfeng wouldn't have to be like this. Zhao Yuner helped Mu Lianfeng back and let him lie on the bed to recuperate. She sat down and quietly began to make clothes for Daodu. Not long after he sat down, footsteps came from outside the house again. It was Lu Lei. Zhao Yuner was afraid that Lu Lei would rush in and see Mu Lianfeng, so she quickly went out of the house. Lei, brother Lazy, why are you here? Zhao Yuner asked with a smile. Lu Lei frowned, his eyes full of worry. He asked Zhao Yuner with concern. Yuner, I heard that Jinhua came to cause trouble for you? Are you okay? Why is there no one? She left after playing around. I'm fine now. Brother Lazy, sorry for making you worry. When Lu Lei heard Zhao Yuner say this, he sighed in relief. That's good. Yuner, you're not injured, are you? Jinhua was also very fierce in the village, and had fought with many women. Therefore, Lu Lei was afraid that Jinhua had hurt Zhao Yuner as well. I'm fine. Brother Lazy, look at me. Am I not fine? That's good. Yuner, it's good that you're not injured. I just heard about it. They all misunderstood you. Naturally, you're not that kind of person, Lu Lei said. Lu Lei had also heard about the rumors between Zhao Yuner and Lu San. However, when others mentioned it to him, he scolded them. Chapter 218. Even if everyone in the world doubted Zhao Yuner, he would never doubt Zhao Yuner. If he liked someone, he would naturally trust her unconditionally. Seeing that this matter was resolved, Lu Lei breathed a sigh of relief for Zhao Yuner. He didn't like others pointing fingers at Zhao Yuner behind her back. Zhao Yuner pulled a smile from the corner of her mouth. They are just making groundless accusations. They like to listen to hearsay and spread rumors. Since it's fake, there will always be loopholes. There will also be a day when the truth will come out. I didn't do it, so I'm not afraid. Zhao Yuner's eyes were filled with stubbornness. This kind of gaze was exactly what Lu Lei had never seen in the eyes of other women. This kind of Zhao Yuner was even more attractive to him. Yuner, then you're fine. I'll go back first. Is there anything else you need my help with? If there's anything you need my help with, I'll leave after I'm done, okay? Lu Lei asked. It wasn't good for him to stay at Zhao Yuner's house for too long. Since others could spread the news about Zhao Yuner and Lu San, it was possible that the news about him and Zhao Yuner could also spread. Lu Lei didn't want Zhao Yuner to suffer any rumors about the matter that had just calmed down. It's okay, Brother Lei. There's nothing I need help with. Then I'll go back? And be careful on the road. Zhao Yuner reminded him. Lu Lei looked at Zhao Yuner reluctantly, then turned around and left. Zhao Yuner looked at Lu Lei's back and sighed. She knew that Lu Lei had probably rushed over after hearing about her situation. He didn't stay for long, but he wanted to leave. She didn't urge him to stay at all. Zhao Yuner still had a guilty conscience. She was afraid that Lu Lei would stay for one more second. If he accidentally entered her house and saw Mu Lianfeng, she really couldn't explain it clearly. During this period of time, Mu Lianfeng was also a troublesome matter. It would be best if she took Mu Lianfeng to the toilet when no one was around. Otherwise, he wouldn't know if there would be rumors. As soon as Zhao Yuner entered, she saw Mu Lianfeng craning his neck to look outside. Mu. Young Master Mu, what's wrong with you? Zhao Yuner asked. It's nothing. I've been lying down for too long. My neck is a little uncomfortable. Mu Lianfeng said. But because he was lying, he didn't have enough confidence. She didn't dare to look at Zhao Yuner. Young Master Mu, why don't I give you a massage? It might be better if you pinch it a little, Zhao Yuner said. Wouldn't that be too much trouble for Miss Yunu? It's okay. As Zhao Yuner spoke, she sat down by the edge of the bed. Her slender fingers rested on Mu Lianfeng's neck and began to massage it. In the past, she often served her parents at home and massaged them from time to time, so her skills were not bad. Zhao Yuner didn't think too much about it. When her hand rested on Mu Lianfeng's neck, Mu Lianfeng's body trembled. The contact between their bodies made Mu Lianfeng's mind go blank for a moment. Miss Yuner. Mu Lianfeng called out softly. What's wrong? Young Master Mu, is it uncomfortable for you? Did I use too much strength or too little? Mu Lianfeng was silent for a moment and shook his head. Other than this strange feeling, Mu Lianfeng still felt that Zhao Yuner's massage was very comfortable. Chapter 219. Mu Lianfeng didn't know how he could have such thoughts when facing Zhao Yun. Miss Yun, who were you talking to just now? Mu Lianfeng asked casually. A friend of mine. I think it's a man. Yes. He cares about you very much, Mu Lianfeng murmured. His chest suddenly felt heavy, and he felt very uncomfortable. Zhao Yuner didn't understand why Mu Lianfeng suddenly said this. She felt that Mu Lianfeng was a little strange. Zhao Yuner didn't want to continue with Lu Lei's question. She probably wouldn't be with Lu Lei, so she naturally didn't want to talk about anything. Most importantly, in front of Mu Lianfeng, Zhao Yuner didn't want to talk about other men. Zhao Yuner massaged Mu Lianfeng while thinking about things. She didn't hear Mu Lianfeng calling her a few times. Mu Lianfeng thought that something had happened to Zhao Yuner. When he turned around, their faces were suddenly very close. They could even feel each other's breath. Zhao Yuner's mind went blank for a moment, and she jumped away. Young Master Mu. Mu Lianfeng's cheeks were also flushed. I'm sorry, Miss Yuner. I called you just now. When I saw that you didn't reply, I turned around. It's okay. Zhao Yuner forced a smile and replied. I'm going to make clothes for Daodu. Okay. Zhao Yuner moved away and sat down on the chair to make clothes for Daodu. If she didn't find something to do, it would be very awkward to face Mu Lianfeng like this. Zhao Yuner followed Auntie Lu's instructions and began to cut and mend the clothes. It was her first time doing something like this, and Zhao Yuner had a poor foundation in needlework, so it was not easy. However, she had plenty of time, so she was not in a hurry. Hiss, the needle accidentally pierced her finger, and Zhao Yuner sucked in a breath of air in pain. Miss Yuner, what's wrong? Mu Lianfeng looked at her with concern. I'm fine. I was just accidentally pricked by a needle, Zhao Yuner said. Let me see. Mu Lianfeng groped his way out of bed and hopped over to Zhao Yuner. He picked up Zhao Yuner's hand and looked at it. Mu Lianfeng's actions were so sudden that Zhao Yuner couldn't react in time. Her injured hand was in Mu Lianfeng's hand. Looking at Zhao Yuner's bleeding finger, Mu Lianfeng put it into his mouth. Zhao Yuner was in a daze for a while. When her finger entered Mu Lianfeng's mouth, the pain was not so severe. Instead, she felt very comfortable. However, for someone of Mu Lianfeng's status, to treat a country girl like her like this, wasn't it a bit strange? It was too good. Mu Lianfeng's actions were just subconscious, and he didn't think too much about it. When he saw his aunt cut her finger when she broke something, his uncle also helped his aunt suck the blood. Miss Yuner, it's done. Mu Lianfeng let go of Zhao Yuner's hand and saw that the blood had stopped. When he looked up, Mu Lianfeng met Zhao Yuner's surprised eyes. After the two of them looked at each other for a few seconds, the atmosphere seemed a bit ambiguous. Zhao Yuner hurriedly moved her face away and turned her head away. Thank you. You're welcome. Miss Yuner, be careful. Don't prick yourself again. Mu Lianfeng's eyes flashed with a trace of distress. He reminded Zhao Yuner and lay back on the bed. Chapter 220. The atmosphere didn't improve until Daodu came back. The two children carried a wooden bucket in their hands, but there were fewer bullfrogs today. Zhao Yuner didn't mind. If Lu Shan went to other places to buy bullfrogs in the future, he would definitely be able to get a lot. The ones caught by the children were only a small part of the total. Zhao Yuner didn't ask, but Daodu explained, Mother, we caught fewer bullfrogs today. It's okay. Zhao Yuner patted Daodu's head. Mother, everyone helped us catch bullfrogs today. Daodu's mother also didn't let him play with me. They all said that their families didn't allow it. Daodu's mood fell. Children like to be lively and like to play with other children. Previously, the children in the village all distanced themselves from Daodu. It wasn't easy for them to play with Daodu because of the bullfrogs. Now that things had changed, Daodu couldn't help but feel a little sad. Looking at Daodu's pitiful appearance, Zhao Yuner comforted him. She guessed that it was probably because Daodu fell into the mud pit. Qin Hailan didn't say anything when she came over. She was afraid that Daodu would have an accident again, so she didn't let Daodu play with Daodu. She just didn't know if Daodu said anything about the bullfrogs. As for the other children, Zhao Yuner guessed that Qin Hailan said something behind their backs, so the other children's parents didn't let their children interact with Daodu. Sigh. Touching Daodu's little face, Zhao Yuner felt a little distressed. No matter how good she was to Daodu, Daodu was still a child. He liked to play with other children. Okay, Daodu, don't be sad. Even if they don't catch bullfrogs with you, there's still little uncle to accompany you, right? There are still San Air and the others. Although there are fewer people, it's not to the extent that there won't be anyone left. Don't you agree? When Daodu is a few years older, Mother will send Daodu to school. This way, Daodu can play with many little friends and also learn knowledge. Zhao Yuner said. Daodu raised his head and looked at Zhao Yuner. Mother, what is a school? It's where I go to school. There will be many children around the same age as Daodu. What are you going to school for? Going to school is to learn knowledge. Yes, just like your eldest uncle. In the future, after you study and pass the exam, you can become successful and bring your mother to live a good life. Yes. Daodu nodded heavily, especially when he heard Zhao Yuner say that he could become successful and bring Zhao Yuner to live a good life. Daodu was even more determined to study hard when he went to school in the future. At the mention of Daodu going to school, Zhao Yuner looked at Zhao Tianfu. Zhao Tianfu was 8 years old and had reached the age of going to school. However, old Zhao's family clearly had no intention of letting Zhao Tianfu go to school. Zhao Tianan was 16 or 17 years old. It was obviously a bit late for him to go to school at this age. However, Zhao Tianfu could. However, in this era, the cost of going to school was very expensive. The average family simply couldn't afford it. In addition, old Zhao's family still had Zhao Tianlong who was studying, so the annual expenses were not small. If Zhao Tianfu wanted to go to school, the children of the other branches of old Zhao's family would definitely clamor to go to school as well. The third branch wasn't liked in old Zhao's family to begin with. It seemed a bit difficult, but Zhao Yun'er still wanted to fight for Zhao Tianfu. Chapter 221. She didn't ask for the money, but that didn't mean she would let it go. The original owner's life was like this, and old Zhao's family had to account for it. Tianfu, do you want to study? Zhao Yun'er asked. Before talking about this, it was best to ask Zhao Tianfu for his thoughts. Zhao Tianfu had to be willing to study. Although Zhao Tianfu was young, he knew the benefits of studying. Studying could make him successful, and he could lead his family to live a good life. They wouldn't be bullied, so he naturally wanted to study. Second sister, studying is too expensive. I miss Grandpa, but he won't let me study. Zhao Tianfu said. Zhao Yun'er saw that Zhao Tianfu wanted to study, so it was easy. He knew that studying was hard, and when he went to school in the future, he wouldn't not study hard. It's okay. Leave this to me. Second sister will talk to father and grandpa. They will probably let you study then. Zhao Tianfu's eyes lit up, and he looked forward to it. Second sister, is that true? Of course it's true. Then second sister, can brother Tianan still study? Zhao Tianfu looked up and asked. Your brother Tianan probably can't. He's almost at the age of marrying a wife. But when you learn more, you can read. You can teach your brother Tianan how to read. Even if he wasn't very educated, he wouldn't be illiterate if he could read. Whether it was ancient or modern, it was much more convenient to read. People in ancient times were poor, so there weren't many who could study. That was why there were so many illiterates. Okay, second sister. I will teach brother Tianan everything I know in the future. Okay. Dinner was heated up, and Zhao Yun'er added a plate of vegetables. It wasn't bad. After dinner, Zhao Yun'er sent Zhao Tianfu back. At the same time, they discussed the matter of Zhao Tianfu going to school. Old Zhao's family was eating dinner in the courtyard. Everyone gathered around a table. The table wasn't big, so basically, only the adults were sitting. The children were standing at the side with bowls, or they picked up their own food and sat on a stool at the side to eat. After Zhao Wensheng left, the food in old Zhao's house returned to being bland. The man who had been working hard all day was still able to eat. After all, no matter how disgusting it was, they still had to eat it. If they didn't eat it, they would be starving. Zhao Yun'er is here again. Li Chuiying shouted as soon as he saw Zhao Yun'er. Old Zhao's family members all looked at Zhao Yun'er. Now, in order to prevent Zhao Yun'er from coming back, old Zhao's family had sent Zhao Yun'er away. As soon as Hua Chunhua heard that Zhao Yun'er was here, her face immediately turned green. He thought to himself, how could this little b*tch have the nerve to come here? Don't you have any shame? As soon as Zhao Yun'er arrived at the yard, Hua Chunhua scolded her angrily. We've already separated you. What are you doing here? Hurry up and get out of here. Hua Chunhua's eyes revealed undisguised disgust. She couldn't wait for Zhao Yun'er to disappear in front of her immediately. The corner of Zhao Yun'er's mouth raised into a smile as she replied. Grandma, you can't say that. Although I've separated from my family, my parents haven't. They are also part of old Zhao's family, so they have a share of this house. I'm not here to look for you. I'm here to look for my parents. Can't I even see my parents? Chapter 222. Since ancient times, other than parents who did not acknowledge their daughters, there was no other reason why parents would not allow their daughters to return home. When Zhao Yun'er said this, Hua Chunhua was so angry that her face turned green. She knew that Zhao Yun'er, this wretched girl, was not so easy to get rid of. Even if they had separated, she would still come over to make trouble. This little b*tch, why did she have so many ideas? Hua Chunhua was about to say something, but Zhao Baoshan said, That's enough, old woman. If Yun'er wants to come back, so be it. We're family. Why are you treating her like an outsider? Old man, why are you siding with that wretched girl? Hua Chunhua was a little confused. Old Zhao had so many girls, but he did not treat the other granddaughters well. Why did he treat Zhao Yin'er so differently? You're too petty. Yin'er is not in your way. Why don't you let her come back? I get annoyed when I see her. This B***TCH who disgraces our old Zhao family should get lost far away, so as not to ruin our reputation. Zhao Yin'er was a little speechless. Wasn't Hua Chunhua's hatred for her too much? In the 21st century, she had never seen a grandmother treat her own granddaughter like this. Alright. Don't talk about this nonsense. Yin'er must have something to do with Old Third and the others. Since she has something to do, why are you stopping her? You're so petty over such a small matter. Don't spread word that you're too petty. Zhao Baoshan nagged. Who's petty? Hua Chunhua muttered. But she was really a little afraid that others would say that she was petty. After all, the villagers liked to scold stingy and petty people. Basically, it was easier for generous and simple families to find a wife and marry off their daughters. Seeing that Hua Chunhua was silent, Zhao Yin'er curled her lips. Even so, she would not be grateful to Zhao Baoshan for speaking up for her. If it weren't for him, she wouldn't have been hated by old Zhao's family. Zhao Yin'er walked up to Liang Jinxiao and Zhao Wenhua and said to Liang Jinxiao, Father, Mother, let's talk inside. Alright. Liang Jinxiao and Zhao Wenhua nodded, although they didn't know what Zhao Yin'er wanted to do. When they arrived at the third branch's house, Zhao Yin'er told Liang Jinxiao and Zhao Wenhua about sending Zhao Tianfu to school. Yin'er, although your father and I also want to study for Tianfu, the school fees are still too expensive. I won't do it, Liang Jinxiao sighed. Zhao Wenhua didn't say anything. He lowered his head and didn't say anything. Mother, if we don't talk about it, how will grandfather agree? Sigh, Yin'er, you don't know. Today's harvest wasn't good. It's not easy to eat every day, let alone send Tianfu to school. Besides, your eldest cousin brother is still studying. It's not easy for old Zhao's family to support him every year. If we send Tianfu to school, our lives will probably be even tighter. Liang Jinxiao was also very helpless. It wasn't that she didn't know about old Zhao's family's situation. Based on her understanding, even if she said it, it would be useless. Instead, it might provoke Hua Chunhua's curses. Zhao Yin'er understood Hua Chunhua's meaning. They just didn't have money. If they had money, everything would be solved. Mother, if you don't want to say it, I'll say it. I'll tell grandfather, Zhao Yin'er said. Chapter 223. Zhao Yin'er did not like Liang Jinxiao's dilly-dallying personality. If he had too many concerns, he would be afraid of doing anything. Although he said that he wanted to study for Zhao Tianfu, he did not do much. Just as Zhao Yin'er was about to say something, Zhao Wenhua interrupted. Yin'er, our family is poor. If your grandfather really agrees to let Tianfu study, won't your second aunt and the others also work hard? Tianyu is almost at the age of going to school, right? Zhao Yin'er glanced at Zhao Wenhua. If it was someone else who said this, it would be fine. However, when it came from Zhao Wenhua's mouth, Zhao Yin'er felt that it was a little ironic. Father, what you said is wrong. Why doesn't anyone work hard for eldest cousin's studies? Can't I study for whomever I want? Don't say that we don't have money. The 200 taels of silver that you sold me back then shouldn't have been spent so quickly in just 3 years, right? Zhao Yin'er's tone carried a hint of blame. She said it out loud because she wanted Zhao Wenhua to be clear about it. She wanted to know if Zhao Wenhua's conscience hurt when she did this back then. After Zhao Yin'er said this, Zhao Wenhua was obviously stunned. She looked at Zhao Yin'er in surprise and did not understand how Zhao Yin'er knew. Liang Jinxiao looked at Zhao Yin'er in confusion, and then looked at Zhao Wenhua. Yin'er, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by selling you for 200 taels of silver? Zhao Yin'er pursed her lips. It was better not to tell Liang Jinxiao the truth. Mother, it's nothing. Zhao Wenhua sighed, and did not dare to look Liang Jinxiao in the eye. When she faced Zhao Yin'er, she felt even more guilty and guilty. Of course, Liang Jinxiao didn't believe it. However, seeing that Zhao Yin'er and Zhao Wenhua didn't intend to say anything, it was difficult for her to ask. There's still money, but it's all with your grandfather. Zhao Tianhua whispered. Then I'll go and tell master. Zhao Yin'er stood up. She didn't want to be long-winded with Zhao Wenhua. According to them, it was probably not appropriate to ask Zhao Baoshan. Since that was the case, it would be fine for her to go and tell him. Liang Jinxiao and Zhao Wenhua looked at each other and had no choice but to let Zhao Yuner go. Zhao Yuner went out of the third room and found Zhao Baoshan. Naturally, Zhao Tianfu wouldn't talk about his studies in front of the whole family. Instead, he would talk to Zhao Baoshan alone. Otherwise, who knew what would happen if the people in the other branches heard it? Zhao Yuner didn't beat around the bush and directly said it. After Zhao Baoshan finished listening, he was silent for a moment. There was still some money left after selling Zhao Yuner's 200 taels. Zhao Baoshan didn't tell Hu Chunhua about this money. Instead, he held it in his hands. If there was any urgent need in the future, he could take out the money himself. Alright then. Yuner, I'll discuss this matter with your grandmother. Otherwise, your grandmother will make a fuss. Zhao Baoshan said in a deep voice. It wasn't that Zhao Baoshan didn't agree. It was just that sending Zhao Tianfu to school would probably use the family's money. The 200 taels from selling her would still be in Zhao Baoshan's hands. No matter how Zhao Baoshan did it, it was fine as long as Zhao Tianfu could study. Zhao Yuner naturally wouldn't ask for so much. Alright master, then it's settled. If there's a chance in a few days, I'll help Tianfu enroll. Chapter 224. This was also one of the reasons why Zhao Baoshan agreed so quickly. Originally, they spent 3 to 4 taels of silver a year. Now it was reduced by half to 1 or 2 taels. No matter how frugal the family was, they could still save. Back then, when they supported Zhao Tiansheng and Zhao Tianlong at the same time, they could afford the tuition fees for both of them. Of course, this was under the condition that there were no accidents. Back then, there was a drought, and the grain harvest was too poor. Zhao Tianlong could not afford the tuition fees, so he sold Zhao Yuner for 200 taels. Alright master, then I'll take my leave. Zhao Yuner said goodbye. She did not want to stay at old Zhao's house for too long. Before leaving, Zhao Yuner said something to Zhao Wenxing and Liang Jinxiao. Father, mother, master agreed. In a few days we can bring Tianfu to school. Your master agreed? Liang Jinxiao was a little surprised. Zhao Yuner did not spend much time talking. How could she convince Zhao Baoshan so quickly? Zhao Baoshan was not so easy to talk to. Yes. Zhao Yuner responded. She greeted Zhao Tianfu and patted his head. Tianfu, are you happy? I'm happy. Second sister, thank you. Zhao Tianfu also knew that this opportunity was fought for by Zhao Yuner. You're welcome. Just study hard in the future. Don't let second sister down. Second sister, don't worry. I'll definitely work hard. That's good. Second sister will leave now. Yes. Zhao Yuner said goodbye to Liang Jinxiao and Zhao Wenhua and left old Zhao's house. As for what would happen if old Zhao's family decided to let Zhao Baoshan study for Zhao Tianfu, she did not care. As long as Zhao Baoshan did not regret it in the end. Zhao Yuner returned home and opened the door. The candles were already lit inside. Mu Lianfeng was not lying on the ground, but sitting on a stool. Together with Daodu, one big and one small figure lay in front of the table. Zhao Yuner couldn't help but be curious. What were these two people doing? However, under the candlelight, the two voices sounded particularly warm. Hearing the sound of Zhao Yuner pushing the door open, the two of them turned their heads and looked at Zhao Yuner. The reactions of the adult and the child were very similar. They really looked like father and son. When Zhao Yuner saw it, she was slightly stunned. The thoughts in his mind were too nonsensical. Mother, you're back? Daoda smiled sweetly at Zhao Yuner, looking very happy. Miss Yuner. Mu Lianfeng also looked at Zhao Yuner. In the candlelight, Mu Lianfeng's face looked even more handsome, angular, and a pair of phoenix eyes with a charming charm. He was simply a demon. Zhao Yuner quickly moved her gaze away, not looking at Mu Lianfeng's face. Otherwise, she was really afraid that she would be immersed in it. With a faint smile on her lips, Zhao Yuner asked Daoda softly, "What are you doing?" Daoda raised his cute little face and said to Zhao Yuner, "Mother, Uncle Feng is teaching Daoda how to read." Read. Zhao Yuner was surprised for a moment. She looked deeply at Mu Lianfeng. Mu Lianfeng faced her, still with a smile on his face. Yes, yes. Uncle Feng said that although Dowdu is still young and can't go to school, Uncle Feng can teach Dowdu to read at home. Dowdu explained in a childish voice. Chapter 225. And Mu Lianfeng was willing to teach him. Zhao Yun'er had an indescribable feeling in her heart. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that Mu Lianfeng played an indispensable role in front of Dowdu. In the end, the child still needed a father, so that he could have a complete family. Then what did your Uncle Feng teach you? Mother, Uncle Feng taught Dowdu how to write his name. Speaking of this, Dowdu was a little excited to show off to Zhao Yun'er. Then Dowdu knows how to write? Dowdu nodded heavily, then walked in front of Zhao Yun'er, pulled her hand and said, Mother, come here, Dowdu will write for you. Okay. Zhao Yun'er had a faint smile on her face. She watched as Dowdu dipped his little finger in the water in the cup, then wrote Zhao Dowdu on the table. Although Dowdu's handwriting was not very good, it was neat and legible, so it was not bad. After all, Dowdu was only 3 years old. In the 21st century, most people would probably play with toys at home, and only a few would start learning to read. This method of writing on the table with water was probably Mu Lianfeng's idea. They did not have a pen and paper at home, so they could only make do like this. After dipping his finger in water and writing on the table, the water did not dry up so quickly, so the words could be seen very clearly. This method of writing was practical and economical. In this era, the price of paper was still relatively expensive, and the average person would find it difficult to afford. Therefore, the scholars of this era, in addition to their school fees, also spend a lot of money on ink, paper, and inkstone. Mother, did you see it? How is Dowdu's writing? Zhao Yun'er nodded and praised. Dowdu is great. Dowdu smiled shyly and said to Mu Lianfeng, Uncle Feng, do you think Dowdu is right? Yes, Dowdu is very smart. Mu Lianfeng patted Dowdu's head and praised him. Dowdu's smile widened. Seeing the smile on Dowdu's face, Zhao Yun'er fell into deep thought. Zhao Yun'er realized that Dowdu was very happy when he was with Mu Lianfeng. This kind of happiness was different from when he was with her. Perhaps it was Dowdu's special feelings for Mu Lianfeng. No wonder Dowdu recognized Mu Lianfeng as his father. Uncle Feng, can you teach Dowdu how to read again? Dowdu asked in a soft voice. Mu Lianfeng looked at Zhao Yun'er, as if asking for Zhao Yun'er's permission. Dowdu, you can't eat a mouthful and become fat. Your Uncle Feng taught you how to write a name today, that's enough. Go back and practice well. And let your Uncle Feng teach you again tomorrow? Mother will buy you some books, paper, and pen tomorrow. What do you think? Zhao Yun'er was afraid that Dowdu would delay Mu Lianfeng's rest. The sky was dark, and it was time to sleep. Moreover, learning was something that accumulated over a long period of time. Dowdu was so enthusiastic at the beginning. If he overdid it, he might lose interest later on. Dowdu thought for a moment, and nodded obediently. Okay, Mother, then Dowdu will let Uncle Feng teach him again tomorrow. Dowdu is good. Zhao Yun'er smiled. Mother, does Dowdu want to take a bath tonight? My body is a little itchy. Of course you can. Wait for Mother. Mother will boil some water for you. Okay. Dowdu smiled sweetly. Chapter 226. Dowdu's head rested on Mu Lianfeng's uninjured arm. Dowdu's small body was like a doll in Mu Lianfeng's arms. Dowdu, come and take a bath. Zhao Yun'er beckoned. Dowdu reluctantly got up from Mu Lianfeng's arms. Mother, when can Dowdu bathe by himself? Dowdu asked. Zhao Yun'er was amused by Dowdu's mischievous look. You're only 3 years old. You'll have to wait until you're 6 at the very least. Oh, Mother, then will Dowdu be a man when he's 6? Dowdu's soft voice asked. Yes, you can say that. When the time comes, Dowdu will be able to do a lot of things by himself. Yes, yes. Dowdu nodded heavily. Then Dowdu will eat more in the future. When he grows up, he'll become a man sooner. The smile on Zhao Yun'er's lips became thicker. This child is really a bit cute. Age and food intake were not directly proportional. Time was something that no one could control. However, Dowdu was still a little too skinny. He had put on some weight recently, but he still had to continue. Children who were malnourished when they were young were still quite affected. Take your time. There's no rush. No, mother. When Douda grows up and becomes a man, he'll be able to protect mother. Uncle Feng said that if he's a man, he'll have to protect the people he loves. Zhao Yun'er was stunned. She looked at Mu Lianfeng. This guy, what did he say to Doudu? Mother, Douda will protect you well in the future. I won't let you be bullied. Douda vowed. Okay, then I'll wait for Douda to grow up and protect mother. Okay. Zhao Yun'er bathed Doudu with warm water and wanted to take a bath herself. In the 21st century, she bathed every day. After all, there was a water heater, so bathing was very convenient. Although he couldn't bathe every day here, he could still occasionally wipe his body with hot water. Now that Mu Lianfeng was in her house, she couldn't even wipe her body casually. After all, Mu Lianfeng was a man. She only had one room in her house, so she couldn't go anywhere else. She couldn't possibly take a bath and wipe her body in front of Mu Lianfeng, right? Zhao Yun'er felt a little helpless. She endured the discomfort in her body and could only give up. What troubled Zhao Yun'er was how to sleep at night. Previously, Mu Lianfeng was still in a coma, but now he was no longer in a coma. It was extremely awkward for them to sleep together. Miss Yun'er, why are you sitting on the stool? Aren't you going to rest in bed? It's already very late. You've been tired all day. You must be sleepy, right? Mu Lianfeng greeted Zhao Yun'er with concern in his eyes. That young Master Mu, don't worry about me. You go to sleep first. Zhao Yun'er pulled a smile from the corner of her mouth. She would wait for Mu Lianfeng to fall asleep, and then climb up to sleep. That way it wouldn't be awkward. But Miss Yun'er, why are you sitting on the stool? If you can't sleep, why don't I chat with you? Mu Lianfeng asked with concern. The corner of Zhao Yun'er's mouth twitched slightly. Chat? What could they chat about? Moreover, she was waiting for Mu Lianfeng to fall asleep. If they chatted, would they have to wait until late at night? Chapter 227. As she spoke, Zhao Yun'er had already taken out the clothes. Under the candlelight she began to sew. Mu Lianfeng leaned on the bed. Although he responded, he still stared at Zhao Yun'er. Zhao Yun'er lowered her head to sew Douda's clothes. She did not notice that a burning gaze had been falling on her. Under the candlelight, Zhao Yun'er's small face was even more exquisite. A strand of long hair fell on her forehead, which made her look even more charming. In Mu Lianfeng's eyes, the way Zhao Yun'er sewed the clothes seriously was particularly charming. This woman was not a beauty that could cause the downfall of a country, but people could not help but be attracted to her. Mu Lianfeng felt that he was possessed. Why did he have feelings for such a woman? Obviously, he was not very interested in women. After some time, Zhao Yun'er felt that the room had been quiet for a while. She thought that Mu Lianfeng had fallen asleep, but when she looked up, she met Mu Lianfeng's eyes. He looked very energetic. Zhao Yun'er could not describe her feelings for a moment. Why was he not asleep yet? Then wouldn't she have waited for so long in vain? Young Master Mu, you haven't slept yet? Zhao Yun'er twitched the corner of her mouth and asked. I'm not sleepy yet. I'm waiting for Miss Yun'er to sleep with you. Didn't she say that she didn't want him to wait? Zhao Yun'er gave up the idea of waiting for Mu Lianfeng to fall asleep before going to sleep. Forget it. She still had to bite the bullet and squeeze into the same bed as Mu Lianfeng to sleep. Then let's sleep together. Zhao Yun'er said. Okay. At night, Zhao Yun'er slept in the corner of the bed with Doudu as before. Fortunately, Mu Lianfeng did not say anything. Perhaps because she was too sleepy, Zhao Yun'er quickly fell asleep without the awkwardness she had imagined. The next day, when she woke up, Zhao Yun'er rubbed her sleepy eyes. She was actually lying in Mu Lianfeng's arms. Mu Lianfeng's uninjured hand rested on her back. The two of them were in an unusually intimate position. Zhao Yun'er blinked and pinched her own hand. Was she dreaming? The pain in her hand made her realize that she wasn't dreaming. It was reality. Zhao Yun'er immediately bounced away. He touched the clothes on his body to make sure that he was wearing them properly, and that nothing had happened. Zhao Yun'er's movements were a little big, so much so that it woke up Mu Lianfeng from his sleep. As soon as Mu Lianfeng opened his eyes, he met Zhao Yun'er's panicked eyes. Miss Yun'er, what's wrong? Mu Lianfeng asked. How did I sleep in your arms? Zhao Yun'er asked,
her voice a little low. Mu Lianfeng's mind went blank for a moment. He was wondering why a soft thing had burrowed into his arms at night, and he had smelled a woman's fragrance at the tip of his nose. He naturally did not know how Zhao Yuner inexplicably fell asleep in his arms, but he was afraid that Zhao Yuner would misunderstand him, so he quickly explained, "Miss Yuner, I didn't do anything to you. I don't know." Did that mean that she fell asleep at night and unknowingly pounced on him? Zhao Yuner was so embarrassed that she could not speak. Seeing that Zhao Yuner was silent, Mu Lianfeng thought that Zhao Yuner did not believe him, and said, "Miss Yuner, I didn't lie to you." Chapter 228. She was the one who felt embarrassed. After all, she was the one who ran into Mu Lianfeng's arms. Speaking of which, she had taken advantage of him. Because of her embarrassment, Zhao Yuner hurriedly got up and hurriedly got out of bed. After washing up, she carried the basket on her back and went out. When she went to Yang City today, she bumped into Mulan again. After a few days of hard work, she made a new batch of things in bamboo baskets and wicker baskets. Mulan was also very happy to see Zhao Yuner. "Yuner, why are you going to Yang City too? If you knew, I would have told you yesterday." "Yes, I didn't expect sister-in-law Mulan to be going too. Are you going to sell these things today?" Yes, I'll try. I can learn from you last time. Maybe I can sell some of them too," Mulan said with a smile. If she could earn more, she would earn more. No matter how much money she earned, it was still money. It was best to subsidize the family. The old family Zhu's population was gradually increasing, and the burden was gradually increasing. Although she was not sure if she could sell as well as when Zhao Yuner helped her last time, she had to give it a try. She still remembered what Zhao Yuner said when she was selling the baskets. She could imitate her. "Okay, when I'm done with my work, I'll go and help you," Zhao Yuner said with a smile. She was happy for Mulan when she saw that she could earn money by herself and run a small business. Sometimes women had to rely on themselves. Only when they were capable would they not be looked down upon. Like Mulan, who can rely on her own hands to support herself and live a comfortable life, old Madame Zhu will probably treat her a lot better. Among the daughters-in-law of the family Zhu, Mulan was not well liked because her family was poor. When she first married into the family, she did not have much dowry. On the other hand, Mulan's sister-in-law's family was quite well off. She brought a dozen or 20 taels of dowry with her. That was why Mrs. Zhu treated Mulan's sister-in-law well. The family Zhu was not separated from the family, but the dowry from his wife could be kept by himself and didn't need to be handed over. "Yuner, you're so nice." "It's nothing. You're welcome. By the way, Yuner, why did you go out again today?" "Selling things," Zhao Yuner replied vaguely. Mulan didn't continue to ask, but the other women in the carriage had other thoughts. Every time, he didn't see Zhao Yuner setting up a stall. What was she selling? He was always so mysterious. Could it be that he sold something to earn money? A woman casually asked. "Yuner, what are you selling? I've been seeing you every day for the past few days. Business is pretty good." "It's nothing," Zhao Yuner replied indifferently. "Yuner, don't lie to us. How can it be nothing? Tell us. We won't steal your business. We're just curious." "It's really nothing." "Stingy." "If you don't want to tell us, then don't tell us. You're treating us like fools." Zhao Yuner really felt a little speechless. Damn it. So what if she didn't tell them? These women looked so eager. They obviously thought that she might have earned money and wanted to learn from her. Naturally, she wasn't that stupid. No matter how these women ridiculed and fooled her, Zhao Yuner didn't respond. They could say whatever they wanted. No matter how they scolded her, it wasn't true. The money had really fallen into her pocket. Just as the carriage was about to set off, Qin Hailan came over. After getting into the carriage, she glanced at Zhao Yuner and didn't continue to speak. Chapter 229. If it was in the past, Qin Hailan would probably find her an eyesore and make a fuss with her. Zhao Yuner didn't think too much. It was best not to talk. It was better than Qin Hailan nagging in her ear. The woman, who thought she could watch the show, couldn't help but feel a little disappointed when the two of them didn't talk much. After an hour,
The ox cart finally arrived at Yang City. Now that the weather was getting warmer, there were more and more people on the streets. The bustling scene of people coming and going in Yang City was not worse than the 21st century. Zhao Yuner carried the basket and went to the restaurant. A total of 15 caddies of bullfrog was paid for 300 copper coins. The bullfrog in Sun Zhongquan's restaurant had become the main dish. So many customers ordered it every day. It was just that Zhao Yuner sent 2 little bullfrog every day, and there were many people who ordered it, so there was a shortage of supply. Sun Zhongquan had no choice. He didn't have a channel to buy the bullfrog sent by Zhao Yuner from other places. He didn't even know what this thing was. He could only sell as much as Zhao Yuner sent over every day. Many customers came but couldn't eat it, so it was inevitable that they would be anxious. After coming so many times and not eating, they couldn't be bothered to come over. If Zhao Yuner could supply more, the restaurant's business would definitely be better. Sun Zhongquan remembered that Zhao Yuner used to say that this thing was rare and not much, so it would probably be difficult to get a large amount. So he didn't mention it to Zhao Yuner. After Zhao Yuner sent it over, she came out of the restaurant. Not long after Zhao Yuner turned and left, another figure walked out from the other end of the alley. Qin Hailan looked at Zhao Yuner's back as she left, and the corners of her mouth curled up into a smug smile. This little bitch, so she sent the things here. It's good that she found the delivery place. I'll deliver it tomorrow too. I'll make a fortune then. The smile on Qin Hailan's face disappeared. She turned around the alley happily and went back. Of course, Zhao Yuner did not notice any of this. Zhao Yuner went to the market and bought the things she needed. She then went to Mulan's place. This time, when he came to town, he bought another caddy of pork and half a caddy of pig liver for Mu Lianfeng to nourish his body. The brushes, ink, and paper he bought for Daodu and Zhao Tianfu were the most expensive. One was the 3-character classic, one was the 100 family surnames, and one was the 1,000-character classic, which cost a total of 60 copper coins. Pen and paper cost a total of 180 copper coins. Zhao Yuner had already bought the cheapest one, but it was still so expensive. The expenses in the future would only get bigger and bigger. She wanted to think of another way to see if she could start another side business. No one would ever complain about earning too much money. If he saved up more money now, he would be able to afford Daoda's education in the future. When they arrived at Mulan's place, Mulan was much better this time. At least she had learned how to shout, and was not as bashful as before. After such a long time, she sold 3 wicker baskets, and earned a total of 21 copper coins. Sister-in-law Mulan, you're selling well, Zhao Yuner said with a smile. Mulan was naturally very happy that she had sold so many baskets by herself. There was an excited smile on her face. Yes, I didn't expect that I could sell so many baskets by myself. Take it slow. It will get better and better. Yes. Zhao Yuner walked over and helped Mulan to shout. Chapter 230. She earned a total of 162 copper coins, which was a huge sum of money in ancient times. Mulan held the money in her hands and could not believe it. She had earned so much money in such a short period of time. Wasn't it too much? Her family only earned 1 or 2 taels of silver after a year of hard work from farming and selling grain. Looking at Mulan's stunned and incredulous expression, Zhao Yuner could not help but want to laugh. In fact, whether it was in ancient times or modern times, one could not earn much money by guarding 1 mu of land. The most profitable thing was still business. Doing business was the fastest way to earn money. Unfortunately, the merchants in ancient times were not like the merchants in the 21st century. The status of the merchants in ancient times was very low. In order to fix the peasants on the land, the ruling class basically limited the development of business in order to stabilize the country. Therefore, the status of the merchants was lower than that of the peasants. Because of this restriction, there were very few people who did business in the whole country. Sister-in-law Mulan, in fact, this is not a lot. If you work hard, you can find other businesses to do and earn much more money than this. Really? Yina? I didn't know that selling things could make so much money before. Of course it's true, but it also has to do with everyone's ability.
Some people can make money, while others can't. Mulan nodded and felt that Zhao Yin'er was right. If it were not for Zhao Yin'er's method, she would not have been able to sell it. Last time, she could not sell one for half a day by herself. In the end, if it were not for Zhao Yin'er's help, she would probably have lost money. Sister-in-law Mulan, quickly put the money in your pocket. Don't let others remember it. Zhao Yin'er reminded her. There were many thieves on the street. It was the principle of not showing off one's wealth. Okay. Mulan heard Zhao Yin'er's words and quickly put the money away. There was still some time, so Mulan went to buy a caddy of pork. Seeing that Mulan was doing well, the woman who came with her asked with envy, Mulan girl, your business is doing well? Are they all sold out? Yeah, I'm pretty lucky today. TSK. You must have made a lot of money, right? It's alright, it's not a lot. Sigh. I haven't even sold half of my vegetables. Mulan, how do you make those things? Teach auntie when you get back. This? It wasn't that Mulan didn't want to teach, but after she taught, people would also come to the streets to sell this thing. Her business would definitely be affected. She still wanted to earn more money. Zhao Yin'er tugged at Mulan's sleeve. Actually, there was no need to pay attention to this kind of person. She only knew how to think about other people's things, and even said it so matter-of-factly. The ability to earn money wasn't something that could be taught. Auntie, I'm going to buy some things first. If there's anything, we can talk about it next time. Mulan forced a smile and said goodbye to the woman. What kind of person is this? Didn't you just make some money? Let's see if your business is always so good. The woman muttered. Mulan bought a caddy of meat, but she was still a little reluctant. She turned to ask Zhao Yin'er. Yin'er, have you bought the things? Do you want to weigh some meat back? I've bought it. I also bought the meat. I spent a lot of money today. What did you buy? Zhao Yin'er put down the basket and passed the books, brushes, and ink to Mulan. Chapter 231. I'll take Dowda to school when he's 6 years old. I'll teach Dowda some things in advance. Mulan nodded. Yin'er, you can read? Zhao Yin'er was stunned by Mulan's question, but she understood that Mulan probably thought that she was teaching Dowda how to read. Zhao Yin'er would never tell her that she had another man in her family, a capable and knowledgeable heir. She smiled awkwardly and nodded. Yes, I learned a little from my fifth uncle in the past. That was the only explanation she could come up with. Otherwise, how could a country girl who had never studied be able to read? I see. That's true. Yin'er, your fifth uncle is a scholar. He's very knowledgeable. If he can pass the provincial examination, your old Zhao family will be rich. Zhao Yin'er laughed. Whether old Zhao's family was rich or not had nothing to do with her. Yin'er, you're amazing too. There aren't many women in the village who can read. Mulan looked at Zhao Yin'er enviously. Basically, only rich families would allow their daughters to study. Of course, that was very rare. That's nothing. I can only read a few words. I don't know anything else. Mulan, on the other hand, is afraid that sister-in-law, you're clever with your hands. The two of them complimented each other. Zhao Yin'er thought of Zhu San'er. He was about 5 or 6 years old, and should be able to go to school. She asked Mulan for her opinion. Sister-in-law Mulan, are you going to send your third son to school? Mulan sighed. Of course I want to, but my family Zhu isn't a rich family. Besides third son, there are 2 other boys at home. My parents can't possibly say that they're only going to send third son to school, right? Moreover, the tuition fee for a year is too high. I don't think third son can afford it. Mulan seemed a little helpless. It wasn't that she didn't want to send third son to school. It would cost a lot of money, and she had to consider the actual situation. Zhao Yin'er thought for a moment. Sister-in-law Mulan, if you can earn so much money every day in the future, you will definitely save enough for San'er to spend in a year. If you have enough money, can you send him to school? Mulan was silent for a moment and shook her head. I probably can't. Even if I earn money, I have too much money. And my mother probably won't let him study. There are many children at home, so the expenses are high. Aren't most of the children in the village not educated? Sister-in-law Mulan, if that's the case, then you can't live's family. Wouldn't it be too much of a loss for you to spend the money you've earned with the whole family? What was the reason for doing business? Wasn't it to make your life better? Even the money you earned couldn't be spent on the things you wanted. It was better not to earn such money. Speaking of this, Mulan was even sadder. In the past few years, the third branch wasn't favored. Mrs. Zhu didn't like her, so she had to do a lot of housework alone. Compared to her, the other two family Zhu's daughters-in-law were much more comfortable. If she could live with them, she also wanted to live with them. At least if they lived separately, she wouldn't have to take care of the whole family, but her own branch. That would definitely be much more relaxed. Her mother-in-law had a sharp tongue. She liked to scold people when they didn't do anything well. Chapter 232. There were still 3 children at home, so the whole family could barely survive. If they split up and didn't get anything, they wouldn't be able to survive. Forget it, we'll talk about this later, Mulan said helplessly. Zhao Yun'er couldn't say anything. Since Mulan didn't want to, she couldn't force them to split up. If Mrs. Zhu found out, wouldn't she run to her door and scold her? The two of them returned to old Father Hu's ox cart. Every day, they had to spend Lu Wen's money to go back and forth on old Father Hu's ox cart. Moreover, they had to wake up early in the morning. If she sent bullfrogs over a long period of time, especially when Aunt Lu's family would help her buy bullfrogs in a few days, the amount of bullfrogs she sent would be much larger. If he were to take the bullock cart again, the goods he was selling would be exposed one day. Zhao Yun'er wondered if she should buy a mode of transportation. The price of this ox was too high. She definitely couldn't afford it. If she bought a horse, the price of a horse would be more expensive. Mules and donkeys in this era were slightly cheaper. Especially donkeys. A donkey wasn't very heavy. 100 to 200 caddies was enough for her. She wasn't in a hurry to go to Yang City every day, so there was no need to buy a horse that could run especially fast. According to the price of this era, a donkey was about 2 taels of silver. 2 taels of silver wasn't a lot, but it wasn't a little either. Zhao Yun'er didn't have the ability to buy one now. The money she had saved up was only a few hundred copper coins. However, when the time came, Aunt Lu's son would help her buy more bullfrogs. The more bullfrogs they caught, the more money they could make from selling them. When the time came, she should be able to save up 2 taels of silver. After buying a donkey, not only could she use it to send bullfrogs every day, but she could also lend it to Aunt Lu's family. It would be more convenient to go to other villages to collect goods. In addition, she and Mulan might be able to find some small businesses to do. With a donkey, they didn't need to take the ox cart. It would be more convenient to sell things on the streets. Old Father Hu's ox cart jolted and finally returned to the village. Once Zhao Yun'er returned, she put down the things she bought and took out the books, paper and pen, and gave them to Daodu and Zhao Tianfu. Both of them looked very happy. He held these things lovingly in his hands. Seeing the 2 children so happy, Zhao Yun'er was satisfied. What she wanted to see the most was the 2 children being happy. Daodu, you and little uncle take the books and let your uncle Feng teach you. Nyangqin is going to cook now. Zhao Yun'er said. All right. The 2 children happily carried the books into the room and went straight to Mu Lianfeng. Zhao Yun'er went into the kitchen to prepare lunch. When there was meat, the food was very sumptuous. In addition, Zhao Yun'er had many ways to cook the meat. No matter which dish it was very appetizing. At noon, they ate to their heart's content. For Mu Lianfeng, he liked the home-cooked dishes made by Zhao Yun'er more than the dishes made by the Crown Prince residents. After a few days of peaceful and warm life, Mu Lianfeng found that he didn't want to go back to the Crown Prince residence. The injuries on his body should be healed slowly. This way, he could stay with Zhao Yun'er for a few more days. After lunch, Zhao Yun'er took care of the vegetable garden again. The seeds that were planted began to sprout. The fastest growing ones were the cabbages. She estimated that they would be able to eat them in 10 days to half a month. After busying herself with the vegetable garden, Zhao Yun'er carried the basket on her back and had to go up the mountain. Chapter 233. She originally needed to change Mu Lianfeng's dressing today,
But it hadn't been done yet. She would wait for the herbs to be picked before changing Mu Lianfeng's dressing. Seeing that Zhao Yin'er was about to leave, Dao hurriedly put down the book in his hand and ran to Zhao Yin'er. He asked in a childish voice, "Mother, where are you going?" "I'm going to the mountain to pick herbs for your Uncle Feng." Oh, then Mother, Dao will go with you," Dao said. The mountain was dangerous. Dao was afraid that something would happen to Zhao Yin'er if she went alone. It was always good for him to accompany her. "Second sister, me too," Zhao Tianfu also said. They were all going together. There was no reason for him not to go alone. "Okay, then let's go together." Zhao Yin'er went a few times and really didn't encounter any danger. Perhaps the people in the village were exaggerating too much, or perhaps they had heard the rumors from the past and believed it. They were convinced that there was something strange on the mountain. Until now, no one had tried to enter the mountain. Zhao Yin'er set off with the two children. Mu Lianfeng was left alone in the house. He felt a little lonely. Before Zhao Yin'er went out, Mu Lianfeng reminded her, "Miss Yin'er, be careful on the road. Don't worry. It's been hard on you." "It's okay." Mu Lianfeng smiled slightly. His beautiful smile dazzled Zhao Yin'er's eyes. Zhao Yin'er hurriedly pulled the two children and left together. She was afraid that if she stayed for a second longer, she would be immersed in Mu Lianfeng's smile. On the way up the mountain, they met Chen Erwa, a little friend who usually caught bullfrogs with Dao. He was a relatively well-behaved child. Most of the time, people from the countryside would give names like this. They weren't as particular as modern people. His name was Erwa, the second child in the family. Chen Erwa was 7 or 8 years old, about the same age as Zhao Tianfu. He probably didn't eat nutritious food on a daily basis, so he was so skinny that he looked like a bag of bones. Zhao Yin'er felt sorry for her. So when Chen Erwa went to her house, she took out some food for Chen Erwa to eat. Although the Chen family had separated, Chen Erwa's parents had 4 or 5 children in total. He also had several younger brothers and sisters. Their family didn't have much land, and they had many children. Naturally, the food they ate was poor. Chen Erwa's mother, Feng Yu, is from the same village. Zhao Yin'er has seen her before. She was only 3 or 4 years older than Zhao Yin'er. He was clearly only in his 20s, but he looked abnormally old. He looked like a man in his 30s or 40s. This woman had become like this because she had given birth to so many children, which was harmful to her body. Secondly, she had to take care of several children every day while maintaining the household chores. It was extremely tiring every day. Thirdly, his family was poor, and he couldn't afford to eat anything good. It was strange that people didn't age well. In addition, Feng Yu was dark to begin with. In this way, she would probably become an old woman in a few years. What Zhao Yin'er couldn't figure out was that the people of this era were obviously very poor, but they still kept giving birth to children. If they gave birth to fewer children, their family wouldn't be like that. They would have fewer mouths to feed, and the pressure would be much less. Unfortunately, people in ancient times had different ideas. They believed that the more children there were, the better. In addition, the contraceptive measures in this era weren't good. Basically, every family had many children. "Aunt Yun, can I go up the mountain with you to take a look?" Chen Erwa asked timidly. Looking at the child's expectant eyes, Zhao Yin'er couldn't bear to refuse. Chapter 234. Zhao Yin'er felt that she needed to remind her, in case she really brought Chen Erwa up the mountain and encountered any danger. At that time, the child's family would come back to settle the score with her. Chen Erwa shook his head. "Aunt Yin, I'm not afraid. You're all here. What's there to be afraid of? And I also want to go up the mountain to take a look. I've never been there before." Previously, he had heard Zhao Tianfu and Dao talk about some things on the mountain, but he had only heard about it from Zhao Tianfu and Dao's ears. He had not seen it with his own eyes, but he was very interested. Zhao Yin'er thought that she also had 2 children. One more child was not much. So she said to Chen Erwa, "Erwa, Aunt Yin can take you there, but you can't tell your parents when you go back." Even if nothing happened on the mountain, Zhao Yin'er knew that the Chen family would definitely not want a child to go up the mountain and encounter any danger. Chen Erwa nodded heavily. "Aunt Yin, don't worry, I definitely won't say anything. Zhao Yin'er smiled. Okay, let's go up together. And Chun Erwa's little face revealed an excited smile. This child was usually at home and was not valued by his parents. He was neither the oldest nor the youngest. He was not very smart and likable, but he felt happy to follow behind Zhao Yin'er. Chun Erwa walked behind Zhao Yin'er and Daodu, holding Daodu's hand very gently. Chun Erwa looked at the interaction between Zhao Yin'er and Daodu, and a trace of envy appeared in his eyes. If only his mother treated him like this. But since he was young, his mother had always yelled at him, and had never been gentle. Zhao Yin'er turned around and looked at Chun Erwa to make sure that he was not following. When she turned around, she found Chun Erwa looking at her in a daze. Zhao Yin'er thought that something had happened to Chun Erwa, so she asked, Erwa, what's wrong? Chun Erwa pulled out a smile and said, Aunt Yin, it's nothing. Then hurry up and catch up. Don't fall behind. Watch your step. Don't trip on the tree stump. Zhao Yin'er warned, and then called Chun Erwa over. Come, Erwa. Aunt Yin will hold your hand. This way we can walk more steadily. Chun Erwa was a little embarrassed and took the money. Zhao Yin'er held Daodu in one hand and Chun Erwa in the other. Zhao Yin'er's hand was a little warm. Chun Erwa felt very secure and warm. He raised his head and glanced at Zhao Yin'er. At this moment, he really wanted his mother to be like Zhao Yin'er. If he could have such a mother, he would be very happy, right? Zhao Yin'er was looking for herbs on the mountain. When she found them, she started digging with the children. Then he introduced the effects of the herbs to the children. Although the children were still young, it would be good for them to know more things in the future. Especially these more practical things. They dug the herbs for more than an hour. It was not easy to come to the mountain. Zhao Yin'er was reluctant to go back. So she looked around to see if there was anything good. She saw a lot of birds' nests in the book. Zhao Yin'er put down the basket in her hand and prepared to climb the tree to get the birds' eggs. Aunt Yin, I know how to climb trees. Let me go. Chun Erwa took the initiative. Chapter 235. Erwa, can you do it? If you can't, you can let Aunt Yin do it. Zhao Yin'er was a little worried. This tree is not short. If he falls from the tree, it will not be a light fall. Aunt Yin, I can do it. Chun Erwa said. Daodu also said in a soft voice. Mother, Erwa Gij is very good at climbing trees. We have all seen it. Well, Erwa, then you go up. Slow down, don't fall. Zhao Yin'er urged. She was still a little worried that Chun Erwa would have an accident. Chun Erwa nodded heavily. Zhao Yin'er stood under the tree and saw Chun Erwa climb up the tree. The speed of climbing the tree is like a monkey. In addition, Chun Erwa is very thin and small. When he climbs the tree, his body is very light. Zhao Yin'er saw it with her own eyes. Only then did she know why this child took the initiative to ask her to climb the tree. He is indeed much more powerful than her. Chun Erwa took out all the eggs in the bird's nest. He took out a few birds' nests and got about 30 or 40 bird eggs. Plus, he caught 3 or 4 big birds. When he goes back, he can definitely eat a few sumptuous meals. Zhao Yin'er picked a few large leaves and wrapped the bird eggs and put them in the basket. The bottom of the basket is filled with herbs. This kind of cushion will be soft and will not break the bird eggs. As for the bird that he caught, Zhao Yin'er tied its wings and put it in the basket. Erwa, you have done the most today. When the time comes, you can take half of the bird eggs back. Let your mother cook for you. This is delicious. Zhao Yin'er lovingly touched Chun Erwa's head. Chun Erwa has never been praised by anyone. His parents have never said this to him. He was slightly moved in his heart. He said to Zhao Yin'er, Aunt Yin, it's okay. You can take it back. I don't need it. What? You don't like to eat it? You should be polite to Aunt Yin. Chun Erwa still shook his head. Aunt Yin, even if I take it back, my mother may not let me eat it. So it's better for you to eat. Zhao Yin'er sighed and looked at Chun Erwa with deep affection. She guessed that he was not favored at home, and it was not his turn to have delicious food. How about this, Erwa? Come to Aunt Yin's place later. Yin'er will cook for you, what do you think? Facing the gentleness in Zhao Yin'er's eyes, Chun Erwa felt his heart melt. She lowered her head shyly. Aunt Yin, wouldn't that be too troublesome for you? Of course not. Then,
Then I'll eat at your place. All right. Today's harvest was quite bountiful. These eggs could be used to replenish the children's protein. When Zhao Yun'er called the children down the mountain, she saw something moving in the grass not far away. It looks like a pheasant, Zhao Yun'er said softly. When the children heard that it was a pheasant, they were all excited. Aunt Yin, I'll go take a look. Chen Erwa ran over. His footsteps were very light, and no movement could be heard. Of course, the thing in the grass did not hear anyone coming over. When Chen Erwa got closer, the thing seemed to have reacted. Just as it was about to run, Chen Erwa suddenly pounced over. Poochie poochie, the thing in Chen Erwa's arms struggled, but it could not break free. Zhao Yun'er also rushed over to help. Chapter 236. With the help of Zhao Yun'er, the chicken couldn't run away even if it wanted to. Zhao Yun'er quickly took out the hemp grass and tied the chicken's wings. She weighed it in her hand and estimated that it weighed 3 or 4 jin. It was fatter than the pheasants she usually saw. If she took it back to cook, she estimated that she could cook a large plate of chicken. It had to be said that Chen Erwa had done well to catch this chicken. Otherwise, with Zhao Yun'er's skill, the pheasant would have flown away by the time she arrived. Aunt Yun, there are eggs in the chicken coop. Chen Erwa pointed to the chicken coop. Zhao Yun looked down and saw that there were more than 10 eggs lying in the chicken coop. She didn't know if the pheasant wanted to hatch chicks. Zhao Yun carefully picked up the eggs. She put them into the basket. Today's harvest was beyond her expectations. Erwa, you are so amazing. You can even catch this pheasant. Chen Erwa shyly scratched his head, and his little face was red. However, it could be seen that he was still very happy to be praised by Zhao Yun'er. Erwa Gij is so amazing. Daodu also looked at Chen Erwa with some admiration. It's nothing. Chen Erwa became more and more shy. Erwa, eat at Aunt Yun's place today. Yun'er cooked dinner early, so that your mother won't be in a hurry to call you home for dinner. Chen Erwa shyly responded. Because of the bountiful harvest, when they went down the mountain, they were very happy. Zhao Yun'er also sang a few nursery rhymes for the children. The children of this era had naturally never heard of it. Zhao Yun'er's voice was clear and pleasant, and her singing drifted far in the woods. The joy of this moment was very rare. In this carefree rural life, Zhao Yun'er found that she also liked it from the bottom of her heart. After walking for 20 or 30 minutes, they finally went down the mountain and reached the road in the village. She didn't expect to meet Chen Erwa's mother, Fengyu, on the way. When Fengyu saw Chen Erwa and Zhao Yun'er together and laughing so happily, his face immediately darkened. He scolded Chen Erwa and then said sternly, Erwa, where did you go? Aren't you afraid that she'll lead you astray if you get together with anyone? Our Chen family is an innocent family. Fengyu's words were very unpleasant to hear. In fact, he was indirectly scolding the locust tree. She thought she was scolding Chen Erwa, but she was scolding Zhao Yun'er in disguise. Zhao Yun'er didn't feel good when she heard that. Was there a need for this Fengyu to speak so harshly? It was too much to do it in front of a child. Fengyu didn't feel it at all. A pair of eyes coldly swept over Zhao Yun'er's face with a look of disgust. Chen Erwa felt uncomfortable when he heard Fengyu say that about Zhao Yun'er. Mother, don't say that about Aunt Yun. I want to play with Aunt Yun. Seeing that Chen Erwa actually defended Zhao Yun'er, Fengyu was even more furious. She poked Chen Erwa's head with her thick black fingers and reprimanded. You damn child. How dare you talk back to your mother? If I see you running away in fear and hanging out with some shady people again, I will break your legs. Chen Erwa didn't dare to speak after being scolded. Zhao Yun'er looked at Fengyu's attitude towards Chen Erwa and shook her head in her heart. This child was really pitiful. After all, he was her own child. She didn't need to treat him like this, right? Chapter 237. Zhao Yun'er's words made Fengyu very unhappy. Fengyu coldly snorted at Zhao Yun'er and said, What? I'm disciplining my son and you want to interfere? Zhao Yun'er, who do you think you are? Meddling in other people's business. Zhao Yun'er was refuted by Fengyu and didn't know what to say. She was silent for a moment. There was nothing wrong with what Fengyu said. She was disciplining her own child.
She had no right to interfere. However, Chun Erwa was scolded like this because he was with her. After thinking about it, Zhao Yin'er replied, I don't care if you discipline your own child. Then tell me, what do you mean by a shady person? You have to give me an explanation for scolding me like this, right? Feng Yu rolled her eyes at Zhao Yin'er. If you're not a shady person, then what are you? Doesn't everyone in the village know what kind of woman you are? You got pregnant before marriage, and then seduced men. You dare to do it, but don't dare to let others talk about it? Zhao Yin'er looked at Feng Yu's rampant appearance and really wanted to slap her a few times. After all, she was Chun Erwa's mother. In front of Chun Erwa, Zhao Yin'er couldn't do anything. You're not allowed to talk about my mother like this. Dao was also angry. His little face angrily stared at Feng Yu. So what if I talk about your mother? Aren't you also a little bastard? Humph. Tell me, where's your father? Is there no one? Dao was so angry that he cried for a moment. He suddenly threw himself into Zhao Yin'er's arms. Chun Erwa couldn't stand Feng Yu's excessive appearance and said to Feng Yu, Mother, how can you say that about Aunt Yin and Dao? You're so bad. Zhao Yin'er patted Dao's back with one hand. She could endure it. But in front of Chun Erwa, it was fine as long as they didn't do anything too excessive to her. Obviously, this Feng Yu wasn't. This woman was simply pushing her luck. Just as Feng Yu was feeling proud of himself, Zhao Yin'er slapped Feng Yu across the face. Feng Yu immediately felt a burning pain on his face. You, how dare you hit me? I'll fight you to the death. Zhao Yin'er scolded. I'm warning you, don't provoke me. This slap is for what you said. If you fight me again, you'll end up worse than this. Chun Erwa quickly pulled Feng Yu back. Mother, don't fight with Aunt Yin. You can't beat her. Feng Yu had heard some things in the village before. The current Zhao Yin'er was not as easy to bully as before. She was very powerful. If he couldn't make a move, was he going to take a slap for nothing? Feng Yu sat down on the ground and began to cry. He cursed, You hit me. Is there any justice in this world? Zhao Yin'er frowned in disgust. This Feng Yu was not old. But how could she be more difficult to deal with than those middle-aged women in their 30s or 40s? Mother, get up. Chun Erwa pulled Feng Yu on the ground. Feng Yu blamed the pain of her slap on Chun Erwa. If it wasn't for this little brat, she wouldn't have been beaten so badly. Therefore, when Chun Erwa was pulling Feng Yu kicked Chun Erwa, and Chun Erwa fell to the ground. His hand rubbed against the sharp stones on the ground, and his skin was immediately scraped and some blood oozed out. Although it was painful, Chun Erwa endured it and didn't cry. Zhao Yin'er didn't know why Feng Yu, as a mother, was so cruel to her own child. Chapter 238. Zhao Yin'er looked at Chun Erwa with heartache and helped him up. Erwa, how are you? Does it hurt? Chun Erwa shook his head, feeling wronged. No pain. Sigh, how could that be? So much of his skin had been scraped off. The injury was already very serious. Sighing, Zhao Yin'er could not say anything. The more she blamed Feng Yu, the more disappointed Chun Erwa would be. She thought that it would take a long time. But fortunately, Chun Erwa's father, Chun Ainyu, came over. Chun Ainyu was only 27 or 28 years old. He looked like Feng Yu, very dark and very skinny. However, he was very tall, about 1.8 meters. In this era, he was already considered tall. Chun Ainyu saw his wife sitting on the ground carelessly and could not help but frown. He pulled Feng Yu up. Why are you sitting on the ground? What do you look like? Chun Ainyu's tone had a hint of reprimand. In this era where men were superior to women, most women were more afraid of men and were submissive to men. After Chun Ainyu reprimanded her, Feng Yu did not dare to cry too loudly. Instead, she complained to Chun Ainyu. Ainyu, look at my face. It's so red. It's all because of this B***tch. Chun Ainyu looked at Feng Yu's cheek that had been slapped. He replied faintly, Your face is clearly dark. Where is it red? Because of Chun Ainyu's words, Zhao Yin'er almost burst out laughing. She was originally quite angry, but now she only felt that it was funny. Feng Yu's face was dark. She really did get slapped, but there was no reaction. It was probably because the original black color covered the red color. Speaking of which, this Feng Yu was also very dark. She looked like she came from Africa.
Feng Yu was a little anxious. She moved her face closer and pulled Chen Ainyu, saying, "Look again, Ainyu, look again. It's definitely there." Chen Ainyu was a little annoyed. "Alright, what's going on? She wouldn't hit you for no reason, right?" Zhao Yin'er looked at Chen Ainyu again. She felt that this man should be more reasonable than Feng Yu. Without waiting for Zhao Yin'er to explain, Chen Erwa helped Zhao Yin'er to explain. Chen Ainyu's face darkened. He reprimanded Feng Yu. "You still have the face to be hit? You're just a troublemaker." Feng Yu felt wronged. "Ainyu, you're my man. You're not helping me, you're helping another woman? Has your soul been taken away by this little b asterisk tch as well? How could this be?" Ainyu? He had only seen Zhao Yin'er today. How could he have any shady business with Zhao Yin'er? "You crazy woman. If you talk nonsense again, I'll teach you a lesson when we get back," Chen Ainyu said fiercely. Feng Yu didn't dare to speak anymore. Chen Ainyu looked at Zhao Yin'er and apologized to Zhao Yin'er. "Miss Yin'er, my wife's words were a little harsh. I hope you don't take it to heart. I'll apologize on her behalf." Since Chen Ainyu had said so, Zhao Yin'er didn't have any reason to not let it go. On the contrary, this Chen family finally had a reasonable person. She was quite glad. Chapter 239. Feng Yu's matter had nothing to do with Chen Ainyu and Chen Erwa. If she really wanted to settle the score, she could settle the score with Feng Yu alone later. Zhao Yin'er's slight smile, on her delicate and pretty face, was particularly charming. Chen Ainyu had never seen such a beautiful woman. He didn't have the slightest bit of interest in a dark and swarthy woman every day. Zhao Yin'er's smile made her feel the beauty of a woman. For a moment, Chen Ainyu was a little stunned. Feng Yu saw Zhao Yin'er smiling at her man, and her man was also attracted by Zhao Yin. It was as if she had hooked his soul. She immediately cursed in her heart. This little b asterisk tch really only knew how to seduce people. Now she was probably eyeing her man again. A pair of resentful eyes glared at Zhao Yin'er. Zhao Yin'er pretended not to see it. She naturally knew Feng Yu's warning, but she was not seducing people. "Ainyu, aren't we leaving yet?" Feng Yu pulled Chen Ainyu. If they did not leave quickly, they did not know what would happen. Only then did Chen Ainyu react and realize that he had lost his composure. "Go, of course we're going," Chen Ainyu responded. "Then let's go quickly." "Okay." Chen Erwa wanted to follow, but his leg was injured and he could not walk at all. Feng Yu not only ignored him, but turned back and said to Chen Erwa, "Erwa, let's go back and see how to deal with you." Feng Yu also blamed Chen Erwa for today's bitter experience. Chen Erwa was so scared that he trembled. "Okay, don't scare Erwa. Let the child go quickly." Zhao Yin'er thought that the pheasant had not been cooked yet. If Chen Erwa went back, he might not be able to eat it. Seeing that the wounds on Chen Erwa's legs and hands seemed to be serious, she said to Chen Ainyu, "Erwa's father, I think Erwa is badly hurt. How about this? I still have some herbs at home. I will take Erwa back and bandage him. When he is bandaged, I will let him go back. What do you think?" Chen Ainyu thought for a moment and nodded. "Then I'll have to trouble Miss Yin'er." "It's no trouble." Feng Yu was too lazy to see Chen Erwa. It was good that this damn child didn't come back. It would be better if he stayed with Zhao Yin'er and didn't come back. However, Zhao Yin'er's words still made her very angry. Wasn't pretending to be kind in front of her man a way to seduce him? This woman was really scheming. On the way, Chen Ainyu couldn't help but scold Feng Yu. "Mother of my child, sometimes you go too far. Erwa is our biological child after all. Why are you so cruel to him? It's better for an outsider to treat our Erwa better." Chen Ainyu's sigh was also true. Over the years, there were many children in the family, and there were always some who were not favored. When Feng Yu gave birth to Chen Erwa, she had a trip to the gates of hell. So Feng Yu felt that Chen Erwa brought misfortune to her. So she treated this child the worst. But for Chen Ainyu, any child was the same. They were all his children. For so many years, if he had not often protected Erwa, who knew what would have become of him?
Chapter 240. Woman, what nonsense are you spouting again? I'm just telling the truth. Child's father, what kind of lie are you spouting? I don't know who was the one who stared straight at that bitch just now. And you still say you didn't? Why don't you ask others if they believe you? Feng Yu cried and made a fuss again. The more she thought about it, the more aggrieved she felt. Wasn't that bitch just a little better looking than her? Was there a need to stare at her like that? You're too unreasonable. If you keep spouting nonsense, see if I don't teach you a lesson. Chen Ania glared at Feng Yu fiercely. Feng Yu was frightened by Chen Ania's look. She knew that if she spoke too much, Chen Ania might beat her when they got back. She quickly shut her mouth, but her hatred towards Zhao Yin'er increased a little. After Chen Ania and Feng Yu left, Zhao Yin'er squatted in front of Chen Erwa and asked softly, Erwa, it hurts a lot, right? Can you stand up and walk? Or Aunt Yin will be. Chen Erwa quickly shook his head. It's okay, Aunt Yin, I can walk by myself. Really? Erwa, don't try to be brave. Really, Aunt Yin, I'll get up slowly and walk slowly. It'll be okay. Chen Erwa insisted. Zhao Yin'er looked at Chen Erwa admiringly. Actually, this child was not that old. If it was the 21st century, he would have already thrown himself into his parents' arms and cried in pain. How could he be like now, not crying or making a fuss, and still insisting on getting up by himself? Erwa is great. Zhao Yin'er praised and helped Chen Erwa up. Then she supported him and followed her back home. Zhao Yin'er put down the basket and took out the things inside. She picked out the medicine to stop bleeding and pain, ground it and started to apply it on Chen Erwa's leg. She took out a piece of white cloth and bandaged Chen Erwa's leg. How is it, Erwa, are you better? Much better. Thank you, Aunt Yin. No need to thank me. Zhao Yin'er patted Chen Erwa's head. He asked Chen Erwa to sit down and rest while Zhao Tianfu accompanied him. Daodu, on the other hand, had already run into the house. Zhao Yin'er got up, carried a basin of hot water, and entered the room. After entering, she found Daodu crying in Mu Lianfeng's arms. Mu Lianfeng hugged Daodu and gently patted Daoda's back. Daoda's small body sank into Mu Lianfeng's embrace. It was a little warm. Zhao Yin'er hurriedly asked, Daoda, what's wrong? Zhao Yin'er could hear Daoda's soft sobs. If the child wanted to cry, shouldn't he be crying in her arms? How did she end up in Mu Lianfeng's arms? Daoda lifted his small and delicate face, which was still tear-stained. Looking at Daoda's aggrieved little face, Zhao Yin'er's heart ached. Mu Lianfeng explained. Yin'er, Daoda said that he wants a father. Zhao Yin'er was stunned. Mu Lianfeng began to explain again. Daoda said that others say that he is a wild child and has no father. If I become his father, no one will say that about him anymore. Zhao Yin'er was a little embarrassed. Master Mu, Daoda is young and doesn't know anything. He just said that casually, don't take it seriously. Chapter 241. Besides what? Besides, I think Daoda is very cute. I'm very happy to be Daoda's father. Mu Lianfeng said with a faint smile on his lips. Looking at the smile on Mu Lianfeng's face, which seemed to have a deeper meaning, Zhao Yin'er was a little embarrassed. What did this man mean? If he was willing to be Daoda's father, did that mean that he was willing to marry her? Was this a confession to her? Zhao Yin'er shook her head. Maybe she had misunderstood and was narcissistic. Mu Lianfeng had so many women around him, and there were so many beauties. With so many beauties around him, and her looks were so ordinary, would Mu Lianfeng take a fancy to her? It wasn't that he wasn't confident, but sometimes it was better to be realistic. Otherwise, there would be a misunderstanding and a joke. Young Master Mu, are you joking? Zhao Yin'er said with a smile. Joking? Miss Yin'er, why would I joke? I really like Daoda, and I think Daoda is very good. Why don't I take Daoda as my godson? Mu Lianfeng was still smiling as he said to Zhao Yin'er. Young Master Mu, you want to take Daoda as your godson? Zhao Yin'er asked with uncertainty. What was Mu Lianfeng's status? He was the heir. If he took Daoda as his godson, Daoda's status would rise along with Mu Lianfeng. Seeing that Zhao Yin'er didn't say anything, Mu Lianfeng thought that Zhao Yin'er didn't agree, so he asked again. What's wrong, Miss Yin'er? Does Miss Yin think that it's inappropriate for Dowdu to take me as his godson? No, no. Zhao Yun'er hurriedly waved her hand. Then, young Master Mu, it's not a small matter to take in a godson. Do you need to discuss it with your family? Will it affect you in the future if you take in Dowdu? After all, you're not married yet. Naturally, no one else can interfere with my decision. As long as Miss Yun'er agrees, there's no need to worry about anything else. Zhao Yun'er had no reason to refuse after hearing Mu Lianfeng's words. If Dowdu was willing, Mu Lianfeng was also willing. Was too. It's their family's family. That's right, they were at a disadvantage. Only his face's goer's eyes. He was just waiting for Zhao Yun'er to nod. If Zhao Yun'er refused, Dowdu would probably be sad again. Is. The corners of Mu Lianfeng's lips curled up slightly. That's good. Is there any ceremony needed for this? Zhao Yun'er asked. The ceremony of the 21st century was probably different from the ancient times. She didn't know what to do in this era. Miss Yun'er, I'll do the ceremony when I get back to the Shizi's residence. All right then. Seeing that Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng had reached an agreement, Dowdu wiped away the tears on his face with his tender little hands. Father, Dowdu's mother and father were very sweet, and it softened people's hearts. For some reason, Zhao Yun'er still had a strange feeling. If Dowdu called her father like this every day, wouldn't people think that Mu Lianfeng was her man if they heard it? Mu Lianfeng patted Dowdu's head lovingly. It was rare for him to show fatherly love in his eyes. This kind of feeling was something he had never had before. Chapter 242. Dowdu won't be a fatherless child from now on. Dowdu is so happy. Dowdu said in a soft voice. His pair of beautiful eyes curved into crescents when he smiled. Mother. Then is Uncle Mu considered mother's husband now? Uncle Mu is tall, handsome and rich. Dowdu looked at Zhao Yun'er with an innocent face. The corner of Zhao Yun'er's mouth twitched slightly. Children. Were they all so naive? Dowdu, it's true that your Uncle Feng is your godfather, but he has nothing to do with mother. Zhao Yun'er hurriedly clarified, afraid that Mu Lianfeng would misunderstand. Dowdu's words just now had already made her very embarrassed. She didn't know if Mu Lianfeng would laugh at her in his heart. She secretly glanced at Mu Lianfeng and found that the smile on his face had deepened. Her face slightly reddened. Zhao Yun'er hurriedly shifted her gaze away. Dowdu looked at Zhao Yun'er with a puzzled expression. Mother, why is that? Uncle Feng is my father. Come, mother, you are my mother. So wouldn't Uncle Feng be mother's husband? Dowdu's deductive ability seemed very strong, but as a child, there were many things that he didn't understand. Dowdu, you can't count it like that. You recognize your Uncle Feng as your godfather. So that's between you and your Uncle Feng. If your Uncle Feng wants to become mother's husband, then mother must marry your Uncle Feng. Dowdu nodded as if he didn't fully understand. Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng definitely wouldn't marry Mu Lianfeng, just because Mu Lianfeng was his godfather. Of course, even if she was willing, Mu Lianfeng might not be willing. If Mu Lianfeng agreed, he had the support of the Shizi manor behind him. If those upper-class people knew that Mu Lianfeng had married a village woman, and a village woman with a child, they would probably object. Mother, in that case, won't it be fine if Uncle Feng marries you? Zhao Yun'er was rendered speechless by Dowdu's words. How could this child think of such things? Was he really a 3-year-old child? Mu Lianfeng finally couldn't help but laugh. This smile was too beautiful. It was even more charming than a woman's. It had to be said that Mu Lianfeng's face had both the heroic spirit of a man and the beauty of a woman. He had never seen such a beautiful and exquisite face anywhere else. Mu Lianfeng's laughter made Zhao Yun'er feel even more at a loss. Mu Lianfeng was probably laughing at her, right? If he was laughing at her, then so be it. Dowdu, this child, had probably already sold her out. Zhao Yun'er was afraid that the image she left in Mu Lianfeng's heart would be that of a woman who loved money and handsome men. Although in reality, she was more or less such a woman. This Dowdu, you can't speak carelessly. Zhao Yun'er said softly and patted Dowdu's head. Mother? Can't I? Dowdu looked at Zhao Yun'er in confusion. Thinking that this matter should be discussed with Mu Lianfeng, she turned her head to Mu Lianfeng. She said to Mu Lianfeng, Uncle Feng, can you marry my mother? This way, Dao can have a father, and mother can also have a husband. Zhao Yin'er felt her face twitch fiercely again. Mu Lianfeng's mouth twitched slightly and said to Dao, Uncle Feng has no objections. You have to ask your mother. Chapter 243. The corner of Zhao Yin'er's mouth twitched violently. What kind of joke was this? Moreover, Zhao Yin'er did not like others to joke about this matter. Young Master Mu, stop teasing Dao. Children will be serious. Zhao Yin'er forced a smile. Miss Yin'er, do you think I'm teasing Dao? Isn't that so? Young Master Mu, could it be that you're serious? It shouldn't be, right? Yin'er still has self-awareness. A proud son of heaven like young Master Mu must marry a peerless beauty. How can someone like me enter young Master Mu's eyes? Moreover, I'm not proficient in the 4 arts. In short, it was just one sentence. She had no talent and no virtue. The difference between Mu Lianfeng and her was too big. It was impossible for the two of them to be together. Mu Lianfeng smiled and did not answer Zhao Yin'er's words. Zhao Yin'er did not know what Mu Lianfeng meant. However, he did not continue this topic, which made Zhao Yin'er breathe a sigh of relief. Dao, mother is going to change the dressing for your Uncle Feng. Zhao Yin'er said and began to change the topic. She was afraid that Dao would ask this again, which would only make her embarrassed. Oh, then mother will do it. Dao quickly retreated. Dao was still very concerned about Mu Lianfeng's injury. Zhao Yin'er twisted the towel in the basin and walked to the bed. Young Master Mu, can you take off your clothes? Or should I do it? I'll have to trouble Miss Yin'er. There was a trace of guilt in Mu Lianfeng's tone, but a trace of cunning flashed in his eyes. Zhao Yin'er had to bite the bullet and bandage Mu Lianfeng. After treating the wound, Zhao Yin'er hurriedly ran out of the room. I'm going to cook, Zhao Yin'er said in embarrassment. Looking at Zhao Yin'er's departing figure, the corners of Mu Lianfeng's lips curled up slightly. He said to Dao, it seems that your mother doesn't like me. What should I do? Dao gave Mu Lianfeng a comforting look. Uncle Feng, don't worry. I think my mother will definitely like you. Oh, you are so confident. Uncle Feng, you are tall, handsome and rich. Of course my mother likes you. Mu Lianfeng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Will your mother like any other man who has these qualities? Dao's eyes turned. He thought for a moment and said, Not really, Uncle Feng. Anyway, I think my mother will definitely like you in the future. Aha! Mu Lianfeng laughed heartily. I hope so. Zhao Yin'er was busy preparing dinner in the kitchen. Zhao Yin'er braised the chicken that she brought back and stir-fried some mushrooms that she had just brought back from the mountain. The pot of chicken and chicken soup was extremely delicious. She also stir-fried a few eggs with green peppers. It was very spicy. Then she added a small vegetable. It was basically wild game. In the 21st century, it was something that couldn't be bought with money. There was rice in the pot that wasn't cooked yet. Zhao Yin'er was about to call the children to eat earlier, when a familiar voice sounded in the kitchen. Sister Yin'er, this voice was very sweet. Zhao Yin'er took a while to react. Was this Xiaohong calling her? Frowning slightly, Zhao Yin'er still came out of the kitchen. Sure enough, it was Xiaohong standing at the door. Chapter 244. Zhao Yin'er walked over and saw a basket in Xiaohong's hand. There seemed to be something in the basket. Zhao Yin'er caught a glimpse of a few eggs and became even more curious. Could it be that Xiaohong had given her these things? What did that mean? Putting away the curiosity in her eyes, Zhao Yin'er walked up to Xiaohong and asked, Why are you here? Zhao Yin'er's attitude was very cold. Zhao Yin'er felt that there was no need to be polite with Xiaohong, who was a white lotus who had harmed her behind her back. Sister Yin'er, I'm here to send you something. Xiaohong put on a smile in the face of Zhao Yin'er's coldness. Then, she handed the basket in her hand to Zhao Yin'er. Sister Yin'er, here are some eggs, 10 of them and some brown sugar. Dao is still young. Give it to Dao to nourish his body. Sister Yin'er saved me last time, but I didn't have the chance to thank you. From what Xiao Hong said, she seemed to be a kind-hearted person who knew how to repay kindness. But in fact, she was stabbing someone in the back. She really looked innocent and harmless, but her heart was like a snake. If others saw the things that Xiao Hong had sent over, they would indeed feel that it was good. 10 eggs was a rare thing in the countryside. But for Zhao Yin'er, she didn't think much of it now. Moreover, Xiao Hong had suddenly sent her these things. Who knew what she was up to? You can take it back. I don't lack it. Zhao Yin'er didn't even look at it, and coldly threw a sentence. Xiao Hong was slightly taken aback. Zhao Yin'er was obviously so poor. But she didn't even look at the eggs. It was strange. Sister Yin'er, what's wrong with you? Do you think that the things I gave you are too shabby? Xiao Hong pretended to be sad. Zhao Yin'er frowned in disgust. This woman was really good at pretending. Don't you understand human language? Or are we two different species? I said I don't need it. But, Xiao Hong bit her lower lip, looking sad. Xiao Hong, to be honest, there's no one else here. You don't have to pretend with me. You don't have to use your things to please me. I know what you've done. Zhao Yin'er sneered. She completely treated Xiao Hong as a clown, acting in front of her. Yet she had seen through this show once again. A complicated expression appeared in Xiao Hong's eyes, and the smile on her lips seemed a little stiff. However, she continued to smile at Zhao Yin'er. Big Sister Yin'er, I don't know if you've heard some rumors or misunderstood me. I really didn't do anything to let you down. Little Sister Xiao Hong, I didn't say that you did anything to let me down. Why are you in such a hurry to explain? Or should I say, you're just giving yourself away. Xiao Hong hurriedly waved her hands. Big Sister Yin'er, that's not it. I'm just afraid that you'll misunderstand. You know that the women in our village are like this. They like to say things that don't exist. I know whether you did or not. I told you to stop pretending, so stop pretending. You must have something to say today, right? If you have something to say, just say it. Maybe I can agree. Zhao Yin'er sneered. Chapter 245. Xiao Hong's expression was a little ugly. She thought for a while and said, Sigh. Since Sister Yin'er says so, then I'll say it. I did come here today to ask Sister Yin'er for a favor. Then say it. Zhao Yin'er put her hands on her hips. She wanted to hear what Xiao Hong, this white lotus, wanted to say. Big Sister Yin'er, you also know that girls are more concerned about their own reputation. So I hope that Sister Yin'er won't spread the news that Lu San bullied me. Otherwise, people with ulterior motives will hear it and have other thoughts. After Xiao Hong finished speaking, Zhao Yin'er also understood. So this was what this woman was worried about. Interesting. No wonder she sent things over. It turned out that she was afraid that she would frame Zhao Yin'er in the first place. Then, Zhao Yin'er would use this matter to spread the news and retaliate. Zhao Yin'er finally saw how much Xiao Hong was scheming. However, she wanted to bribe her with such a small thing? Wouldn't that be letting Xiao Hong off too easily? Seeing that Zhao Yin'er didn't say anything and just smiled coldly, Xiao Hong was a little nervous. Sister Yin'er, can you promise me? I beg you, okay? Xiao Hong took a step forward. Zhao Yin'er hurriedly stepped back. Since this woman cared so much about her reputation, how could she disappoint her? One day, she would peel off this layer of skin on the surface. Do you think I'm you? Zhao Yin'er replied indifferently. However, this simple sentence shut Xiao Hong's mouth. Sister Yin'er, okay, don't pretend. Take your things and get out of here. Zhao Yin'er urged. Sister Yin'er. Xiao Hong was a little unwilling. However, looking at Zhao Yin'er's attitude, it was obvious that she didn't want to talk to her. Although she was worried that Zhao Yin'er would really sell her out, there was nothing she could do. Then, Big Sister Yin'er, I'll take my leave first. Xiao Hong said. He glanced at Zhao Yin'er, then turned around and prepared to leave. Suddenly, she heard laughter coming from Zhao Yin'er's house. Amidst the laughter, there was a man's voice. Xiao Hong felt that it was a little strange. Why was there a man's voice in Zhao Yin'er's room? Could it be that she brought some wild man back? It would be great if that was the case. If she was really caught, her crime would be even worse than seducing someone. A woman bringing a man back was a crime that could be sunk into the lake. Xiao Hong stretched her head towards Zhao Yin'er's house. Zhao Yun'er asked coldly. What are you looking at? Sister Yun'er, I heard a man's voice. Is there a guest in your house? Zhao Yun'er immediately understood. Xiao Hong probably heard Mu Lianfeng's voice. What guest? My brother and son are in the house. What's wrong? As Zhao Yun'er spoke, she stood in front of Xiao Hong. Xiao Hong retracted her head. Then. Okay then. Sister Yun'er, I'll take my leave. Just as Xiao Hong was about to leave, Zhao Yun'er saw Lu Lei walking over from not far away. An idea flashed through her mind. Since Xiao Hong, this white lotus, wanted to frame her, then she would let Xiao Hong know what it was like to be framed. An eye for an eye. Chapter 246. Ouch, Zhao Yun'er cried out in pain. Lu Lei saw it from afar, and immediately ran over. Yun'er, how are you? Are you okay? Zhao Yun'er squeezed out a tear from her eye and said to Lu Lei. I'm fine. Lu Lei frowned. How could she be fine after falling so hard? Of course, he didn't believe that Lu Lei would fall when he was fine. He seemed to have seen Xiao Hong push her just now. Yun'er, how did you fall? Lu Lei asked with a guess in his heart. I fell down myself, Zhao Yun'er said, but she glanced at Xiao Hong. This feeling of wanting to cover up made Lu Lei even more certain that Xiao Hong pushed her. He turned to Xiao Hong coldly and said to her, Xiao Hong, how many more times are you going to play such vicious tricks? How did Yun'er offend you? You've harmed her time and time again. The first time, you framed her for pushing you into the river, causing Yun'er to be misunderstood and scolded. The second time, you spread the rumor that Yun'er seduced Lu San, and Yun'er was scolded even more severely by the villagers. If she hadn't clarified it later, who knows what her reputation would have become in the future. Now you pushed Yun'er. Just how vicious is your heart? Lu Lei naturally knew that Xiao Hong was targeting Zhao Yun'er because of him. Xiao Hong thought that the person he liked was Zhao Yun'er, so she kept targeting Zhao Yun'er. In that case, he was the one who had implicated Zhao Yun'er. Xiao Hong was taken aback by Lu Lei's sudden words. Her eyes instantly turned red. Was she such a woman in Lu Lei's eyes? Xiao Hong hurriedly said. Brother Lu, no, I didn't push her. Xiao Hong wasn't stupid. She understood that Zhao Yun'er had framed her. This B***TCH actually knew how to frame others. Xiao Hong had never been wronged like this before, so she was naturally indignant. Who else could it be but you? Are you saying that Yun'er is framing you? Big brother Lu, believe me. It was Zhao Yun'er who framed me. I didn't push her. Xiao Hong was a little anxious. After all, she liked Lu Lei. If Lu Lei misunderstood her as such a woman, Lu Lei probably wouldn't like her anymore. When Lu Lei's back was facing Xiao Hong, Zhao Yun'er revealed a smug smile to Xiao Hong, deliberately provoking Xiao Hong. As expected, Xiao Hong was so infuriated by Zhao Yun'er that she lost her rationality. She rushed to Zhao Yun'er and pointed at Zhao Yun'er's nose. B***TCH, you framed me. Why did you frame me? Zhao Yun'er pretended to be scared and hid behind him. She looked very scared. Little sister Xiao Hong, when did I frame you? You speak with your conscience. I said something about being cold to you just now. Zhao Yun'er's tone sounded very aggrieved. However, there was a flash of slyness and smugness in her eyes. Seeing Xiao Hong's flustered and exasperated look was really satisfying. She should have known that a woman like Xiao Hong didn't care about other things. She only cared about Lu Lei's attitude. If Lu Lei's impression of her was any worse, it would be worse than beating her up. After all, no woman wanted to leave a bad impression in front of the man she loved. Chapter 247. Big brother Lu. Why don't you believe me? Believe Zhao Yun'er. I really didn't push her. She deliberately fell down in front of you to make you think that I pushed her. Zhao Yun'er, what are you thinking? Xiao Hong felt like she was going crazy. How could she be so pitiful to be targeted by Zhao Yun'er? And Zhao Yun'er really wasn't as soft and easy to bully as she thought. Enough. Lu Lei said coldly. Xiao Hong, I know better than you what kind of person Yun'er is. I hope you won't hurt Yun'er again. Otherwise, I won't be polite to you. Facing Lu Lei's coldness, Xiao Hong knew that Lu Lei didn't want to believe her at all. His heart was completely on Zhao Yun'er's side. Xiao Hong wasn't such a stupid woman. She knew that the more she didn't admit it, the more people would say that Zhao Yun'er framed her. Then, the more Lu Lei would side with Zhao Yun'er, the more he would hate her. So now, she could only retreat in order to advance. She didn't want to fall out with Lu Lei. Zhao Yun'er Xiaohong glared at Zhao Yun'er angrily. She gritted her teeth and then said to Lu Lei, "Big brother Lu, I'm sorry. I was too agitated. Maybe I accidentally pushed Sister Yun'er. I really didn't mean to hurt her. Sister Yun'er is so nice. Why would I push her?" Xiaohong instantly became a pitiful white lotus again. Zhao Yun'er looked at Xiaohong a few more times. It seemed that this woman was quite smart. She didn't force it. Knowing that Lu Lei didn't believe her, she softened and said that. Sure enough, Lu Lei's tightly furrowed brows relaxed a little. Lu Lei's emotions were quickly captured by Xiaohong. Thinking that this method was feasible, Xiaohong continued. "Sister Yun'er, I really accidentally touched you. Can you forgive me? I'll be careful in the future." Lu Lei still somewhat believed that Xiaohong really pushed her, but Xiaohong's attitude made him feel that it was okay. Apologizing after bullying someone meant that he at least knew that he was in the wrong. Zhao Yun'er smiled coldly and said to Xiaohong, "Little sister Xiaohong must be joking. How could I blame you? After all, you were careless. Just be more careful in the future." There was a warning in Zhao Yun'er's words. If Xiaohong dared to provoke her again, her acting skills wouldn't be any worse than hers. If worse came to worst, she would accompany her to the end. She didn't believe that she couldn't win against a white lotus. Xiaohong pursed her lips. "Thank you, Sister Yun'er. I'll be careful next time." Xiaohong looked at Lu Lei again. Seeing that Lu Lei's face was still cold, she sighed. She didn't know how Lu Lei would treat her in the future. She only hoped that this time, she wouldn't leave a bad impression in Lu Lei's heart. As for Zhao Yun'er, if she had the chance, she would definitely take revenge. "Big brother Lu, big sister Yun'er, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave," Xiaohong said. Zhao Yun'er pretended not to hear, and ignored Xiaohong. Lu Lei responded indifferently. His attitude was also very cold. Seeing that Xiaohong had left, Lu Lei asked with concern, "Yun'er, how are you? Are your injuries serious? It's all my fault. If it weren't for me, Xiaohong wouldn't have targeted you." Zhao Yun'er shook her head. "It's okay, brother Lei. I just fell. I'm not injured." "All right, why did you come here?" Chapter 248. Of course, this was only one of the reasons. Another reason was that she wanted to come over and see Zhao Yun'er. She would only feel comfortable if she could see Zhao Yun'er from time to time. "I don't need any help here," Zhao Yun'er said. What she said was the truth, and she didn't want to have too much to do with Lu Lei. There was a trace of disappointment in Lu Lei's eyes. "No. Brother Lu, aren't you busy these days?" What's there to be busy about? There aren't many fields at home, so I finished them in a short while. I went to the mountains a few more times these days, but my luck wasn't very good. I didn't bring anything back." "It's okay, brother Lei. Take it slow. It will be fine." Yes. Lu Lei nodded heavily. Only when he saved enough money would he have more ability to stand in front of Zhao Yun'er. Now that he didn't have the ability, he couldn't say a lot of things and couldn't guarantee it. The smell of cooked rice floated in the house. Zhao Yun'er thought that it was time to eat, but she didn't want to keep Lu Lei. It was even more embarrassing to drive him away. She looked at Lu Lei awkwardly and said to him, "Brother Lei, we have to eat? Do you want to stay and eat?" Zhao Yun'er was just being polite. Lu Lei waved his hand. "No, I'll go back and heat up the dishes myself. Yun'er, you guys eat." She wanted to eat, so he couldn't continue to stay. He had to leave. Looking at Lu Lei's back, Zhao Yun'er breathed a sigh of relief. She turned around and prepared to go into the house to move the table out. In the house, Mu Lianfeng retracted his gaze from the crack of the door and quickly lay down on the bed. Naturally, he saw the series of things that Zhao Yun'er did just now. Mu Lianfeng's mouth held a smile. He was more and more interested in Zhao Yun'er. It seemed that Zhao Yun'er was still a little different from what he knew. This woman was very interesting. She would occasionally play tricks, but in his eyes, he felt that she was abnormally cute. Sometimes it was good for women to be like this. He had seen too many innocent and harmless flowers that needed to be protected. He admired Zhao Yun'er even more. At least others wouldn't bully her too much. As soon as Zhao Yun'er entered the room, she saw Mu Lianfeng lying on the bed thoughtfully. She hurriedly moved the table out and ate in the courtyard later. Even if it was Chun Erwa, Zhao Yun'er still didn't want Mu Lianfeng to be seen by others. After moving the table out, Zhao Yun'er called the children to start eating. When the dishes were served, Chun Erwa's eyes were glued to them. How could there be such good dishes? He had never eaten anything like this before. Come on, hurry up and eat. It won't taste good when it's cold, Zhao Yun'er said. The three children leaned over the table and didn't feel too restrained. At first, Chun Erwa was embarrassed. But seeing Daodu and Zhao Tianfu eating happily, he slowly let go and began to eat. The pheasant was even more delicious with mushrooms. Whether it was meat or mushrooms, it was so delicious that they wanted to swallow their tongues. Zhao Yun'er let the children eat first. She scooped a bowl of rice, picked up some food, and brought it to Mu Lianfeng. Mu Lianfeng continued to lie on the bed to rest. After Zhao Yun'er came in, she immediately closed the door. Gongzi Mu, it's time to eat. Zhao Yun'er's clear voice sounded. Chapter 249. At this moment, only Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng were left in the room, and the atmosphere became ambiguous again. Zhao Yun'er knew that Mu Lianfeng still needed some time to recover from the injury on his hand, so she personally fed Mu Lianfeng. When Mu Lianfeng was in the Shitzi estate, he didn't eat a lot of game. Moreover, the game prepared by the Shitzi estate's chef wasn't even half as good as Zhao Yun'er's. This meal, Mu Lianfeng enjoyed it very much, and he only said that he was full after eating 2 big plates. After feeding Mu Lianfeng, Zhao Yun'er was about to go eat by herself, when Mu Lianfeng suddenly called out to Zhao Yun'er, "Miss Yun'er, what's wrong? Miss Yun'er, were you and Daodu often bullied in the village?" Mu Lianfeng suddenly asked. Zhao Yun'er felt that Mu Lianfeng's question was a little strange. After all, she didn't understand why he would ask such a question. It's all right, Zhao Yun'er's mouth twitched. Zhao Yun'er was pitiful in the past, but she wasn't. After she replaced the original owner, she wasn't as easy to bully as before. Did Daoda's father really pass away? Or did he leave? Why isn't he by your side? Daoda said that he hasn't seen him since he was young. Mu Lianfeng remembered that Zhao Yun'er had said that Daoda's father had passed away, but after observing for a while and hearing Daoda's words, he more or less understood. Daoda's father probably wasn't really dead, and this irresponsible man got Zhao Yun'er pregnant and then abandoned her. He didn't even care about his own son. He really looked down on this kind of man. Why are you asking this, young Master Mu? Zhao Yun'er replied. Zhao Yun'er's emotions could not be heard from her tone. I'm just asking. Mu Lianfeng pursed his lips and looked at Zhao Yun'er with a trace of heartache. It was only when he truly lived with Zhao Yun'er that he understood how difficult it was for Zhao Yun'er to raise a child alone. Not to mention the living conditions. This weirdo would come knocking on his door every 2 to 3 days. It was really tiring. In the end, Zhao Yun'er was still a woman. Without a man by her side, others would think that she was easy to bully. If she had a man by her side to protect her, she wouldn't have to suffer so much. Zhao Yun'er was silent for a moment. Then a bitter smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. You may not believe it, but it's true. I don't know who Daoda's father is either. Mu Lianfeng was surprised for a moment. He knew that there must be something going on here. Zhao Yun'er didn't say anything, so he couldn't ask in detail. Then, Miss Yun'er, have you ever thought of remarrying? If you remarry, Daoda will really have a father, and you and your son will have a guarantee for your lives, Mu Lianfeng continued. Zhao Yun'er felt that Mu Lianfeng's question was getting stranger and stranger. What did he mean by this? Young Master Mu, what kind of man do you think I can find with my conditions? If I marry a worse man, wouldn't my life be ruined? I think it's pretty good now. With Daodu, as long as I work hard in the future, my life will definitely get better and better. Don't you think so, young Master Mu? Zhao Yun'er said this to show her strength. Chapter 250. Mu Lianfeng also smiled at Zhao Yun'er and nodded, agreeing with Zhao Yun'er's words. He really wanted to tell Zhao Yun'er or that he was actually willing to marry her and take good care of them. He didn't say this sentence because he wasn't sure. After all, he didn't have complete control over his marriage. If he agreed early and couldn't fulfill it in the end, he was afraid that Zhao Yin'er would be disappointed. The next day, Zhao Yin'er went to Yang City to deliver bullfrogs. This time, the quantity was even smaller. Yesterday, she brought Zhao Tianfu and Daodu up the mountain, so the two children didn't catch many bullfrogs. It was probably less than 5 kilograms. She didn't know if Sun Zhongquan would say anything if she sent it. But today she sent less bullfrogs. Tomorrow she should be able to send more over. Aunt Lu had already arranged for her son to go to a few nearby villages to give instructions. Today they would go to purchase them. In total, there should be a lot of bullfrogs. What surprised Zhao Yin'er was that when she went to Yang City today, Qin Hailan came again. It was really a little abnormal for her to enter the city for 2 consecutive days. This time, Qin Hailan also carried a basket on her back. There seemed to be something in it. It was covered with a piece of cloth, so Zhao Yin'er couldn't see anything. There was a sense of uneasiness in her heart. She felt that Qin Hailan came to Yang City for her. Zhao Yin'er couldn't find any evidence, and it wasn't convenient for her to question. She stared at Qin Hailan's basket for a while. Qin Hailan glared at Zhao Yin'er unhappily. "What are you staring at my basket for?" Qin Hailan's tone was tough, but a trace of guilt flashed in her eyes. "Can't I look around? Did he steal it from you or rob it from you?" Zhao Yin'er also replied unhappily. "Zhao Yin'er, don't be stubborn." Qin Hailan huffed. "I'm too lazy to argue with you." Zhao Yin'er rolled her eyes at Qin Hailan and looked away. When they reached Yang City, Zhao Yin'er got off the ox cart and went straight to the restaurant. He gave bullfrog to Sun Zhongquan. Sun Zhongquan looked at the things Zhao Yin'er sent over and couldn't help but sigh. "Miss Yin'er, the bullfrogs are selling better and better, but you're sending less and less bullfrogs. This is really making things difficult for me." They ordered so much every day. Even if they didn't ask Zhao Yin'er to send more, they couldn't possibly send less. "Shopkeeper, I'm sorry. I didn't deliver enough today. I'll definitely be able to send more tomorrow." Zhao Yin'er said somewhat apologetically. She could understand Sun Zhongquan's difficulties. If she could send more, she would definitely want to send more. After all, the more she gave, the more money she could earn. This thing was priced by weight. She wasn't so stupid that she didn't know how to earn money. Sun Zhongquan didn't know if Zhao Yin'er was telling the truth or just comforting words. He could only sigh and shake his head. "All right then. Miss Yin'er, I hope you can send more." Sun Zhongquan gave Zhao Yin'er the money, and Zhao Yin'er left the restaurant. Not long after Zhao Yin'er left, Qin Hailan strolled to the front of the restaurant. She wanted to go in, but was stopped by the restaurant's waiter. Qin Hailan was dressed in rags. It was obvious that she was someone who couldn't afford to spend money in the restaurant. The waiter wouldn't casually let people into such a high-class restaurant. Qin Hailan naturally didn't think of this situation, but she had an idea. She said to the waiter, "Little brother, Zhao Yin'er asked me to come. Do you know Zhao Yin'er?" You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.